Turn hot. We are here with
Jesus Christ.
What is it? Lieutenant, Sergeant, Corporal, Colonel, Lance Corporal. Goundrey, Jarryd Goundrey, turned comedian. So, what did we discuss today? It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, we discussed big thing on mental health. First gay soldier. I saw.
He's not the first gay soldier. He's with the first gay soldier.
Cutting down a tree with a machine gun.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. Killing your leader.
Killing your leaders for the better good.
Yeah.
Potential global conflicts and how we would handle the situation.
The water
wars. Asteroids hitting.
Fuck, it was
finding weed in East Timor while you're on duty and allegedly smoking it.
And stealing and being part of stealing East Timor's resources.
Being an active part on stealing gas from our neighbours.
Big drunken Maldies going, oh, chair, fuck off, and getting maggot.
Fuck, that was a big episode.
Yeah, huge.
That was good. That's very good, Jarryd. I loved it.
I loved every second.
All right, enjoy and let's get hot.
Let's get hot.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Rose. So I'm going to throw it over to your co-hosts,
Daniel Jelby
and Cameron Brand.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
Like standing on the board or with the board? Surfing. Yeah. But you spun on the board?
Yeah. And then I'm like comment diving immediately.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some fucking piece of shit that has no talent being like, really irresponsible. It's like, you haven't done fucking shit with your life. Stop bragging.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to surf?
Yeah.
And raise a kid? She's doing that at the same time. Give her a break, man. And she's like a
fake scenario.
Yeah.
Drown and like
It was a Bayswater wave pool.
She's not drowning. There's a fucking whole camera crew there. Like she's getting it for content. Yeah. Not only.
I'm like, you could have died in a car crash.
She's surfing, raising a kid, and going viral. That's three of the hardest fucking things you can do. You know how hard it is to go viral?
Yeah,
Jesus.
you could beat a kid and go viral, but to do it positively is fucking way harder.
All those people are like that. They just fucking, like, if you do anything that's good, there's someone in the comments section that's ready to tear you down.
I posted a video of me on in Bali making friends.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? And like, it was really wholesome. I was like, this is really nice.
Yeah.
I got an inbox going, of course I'd be friends with you. You're a straight, white, good-looking cis male. They're all going to say yes with privilege. I was like, are you fucking taking the piss, cunt? Like,
shut the fuck up.
Dare you make friends?
Bitch, don't kill my vibe. Like, if anybody said, will you be my friend? I'm sure empathy will come out and people go, yeah, fucking oath.
Explain to me this fucking Dexiverse brain.
Yeah.
tablet shit.
So this is round 2. So
I wanna know.
we're actually releasing this episode as part 1.
Is this a paid sponsorship or is this?
No.
We're just doing.
I like it.
I'm trying Alpha Brain to see if it actually works.
He just said that, like,
And you're on Dexies.
Yeah, but I'm prescribed, so for me, I'm just normal.
I feel like that's like Viagra and that's like horny goat weed.
Yeah,
Mate, do you know how like
Definitely.
I'm starting to doubt?
But he's natural.
Now I'm starting to doubt this because it's got like it's like a daily nootropic formula, assists mental clarity, and then promotes flow state.
Oh,
that sounds very unscientific.
You can't measure that.
You cannot measure promotes flow state.
Unless you have that and then on the way home you surf with a toddler doing a spin.
But look,
I'm not fucking interested.
But look, this is the second podcast for the day.
Also,
and I'm feeling good.
Because you usually die in the ass.
Fucking definitely.
Yeah. I'm all right, but I die after I feel drained. I don't want to do anything else. I'm all right to keep having a chat. But this is if we were looking at this scientifically, it's not a fair test because I am on Dexies anyway. So I'm normal.
So
you're taking,
we should have done the other way around.
Yeah,
we should have done
something that but we can do that next.
Yeah, because I don't care if I allegedly we'll do that.
We both have to have baseline, and then I'll have to have Alpha Brain versus how I was on Dexies, and you have Alpha Brain how you were on Dexies.
Can you handle that?
You need to get a prescription. I don't know if I can handle that much flow state, eh?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Allegedly,
you'll
have to source them from somebody else because I'm not giving you my prescription drug.
That's completely fine, Daniel.
Yeah. So,
but allegedly, if you open up if you actually open these capsules up, you'll find Dexy's
Dexy's in them.
inside.
You reckon? Off there.
Yeah.
Can I be wholesome for a second? Good work on this podcast, lads. This
Yeah,
is-
yeah.
Thanks.
You know, obviously when you do comedy, you do a lot of fucking dog shit podcasts.
Yeah.
Especially when you travel interstate, people are like, do you want to go on my podcast? And you don't know what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have the time to check it out.
Yeah, that's
But
how
I'm-
Dane Swan felt when he walked in.
Mate, he was, he was feeling
Literally, he walked in, arms crossed. He's like, let's get out of the way. And even though Sammy briefed him on like sort of who we were, he didn't know what to expect. So he was sort of like, he's like, yeah. And then eventually when he was like, oh, it's just a couple of lads.
Yeah.
We know a little bit about footy. It's a bit more loose.
He got open.
Then he opened up and it was fucking really fun.
I've been watching you guys from a distance. I think that's like nice. On the far as like
That sounds creepy, but
Yeah.
you get,
in the bushes.
I
I've been in
understand.
the bushes watching.
Well,
Yeah,
being
yeah.
ex-army,
Yeah.
you've probably got a
Yeah.
fucking sniper
Right.
rifle on us.
And I've watched you guys grow. How long have you been doing this? 2 years?
3.
Yeah.
This is the third year. I think.
Yeah, I think with that, like since when COVID hit,
Yeah.
like and all the lockdowns happened, that's when we really started doing like weekly episodes. We
Yeah.
did probably maybe 8 to 15
Yeah.
episodes before that, but they were very.
Well,
nothing.
congratulations.
So,
it, looks,
yeah.
it looks spectacular.
man.
I reckon.
Look
It's
at that, starting with some positive fucking vibes.
See,
I'm a
fuck.
positive guy.
We just
Yeah.
we just had the most pessimistic bloke ever, and but yeah, you won't hear that episode till next week anyway. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm excited to see. Is your headphones? Is
Do you
it?
think
It's
there's
down
a-
here, bro. It's
Do you
down
think
here.
there's a level of placebo going on with the flow state?
Well,
herbal
this is
drug
what we're
zone?
talking about. Yeah, probably it could be. Could be placebo. Could be. I don't know. But when did you get? When did you get in? You come
Flew in
from.
yesterday.
At
Only just-
0600 hours.
Only just made it. Only just made it. That's 6 o'clock for
Ah.
everyone listening at home.
Yeah.
6 a.m.
Yeah. Do you know why they invented that? They
Why?
invented that time for when radios were shit, and like you couldn't. It was always breaking a little bit, so you could. The AM or the PM part of that would get lost.
Really?
So they were like,
Ah.
"Oh, we need a different system here to."
So they do that at the start. So if
Yeah.
it's 1800, and they
So then I go, you can get the 23 part, but you might not get the 11 PM part.
Nice.
This is for in like war times for
This
army.
is
and
wartime.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wartime, and then you can get into like Zulu, and there's like time frames and shit. And it's good on like the start of Jag.
What's Zulu?
It's like a time. It's like a time zone.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So
Tickets?
They got their own term. What?
Tickets? You can win prizes?
You can win. Yeah. Man, I saw a fucking time zone in Northbridge last night. I
Yeah.
thought those things are extinct.
No.
Not in WA.
Nah, they're still here. Because we're in a different time zone.
Oh,
we're
you
in the
know-
90s.
Do you know what they've been
Yes.
taken over by? Like iPlay, I think it is.
iPlay's big on the East Coast.
iPlay,
right.
yeah.
It's not as good. I mean, they got climbing walls.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of cool.
And
It's got-
bowling.
It's got Whacker Alligator. Remember that? You know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
game? And
yeah.
climbing wall. So
Fuck.
it's pretty fucking good.
What
So
what Zulu? We can't just pretend that we just learnt a new time zone and just forgot about it.
Yeah,
it's,
because
it's you know like how you'd have Eastern Standard Times.
Yeah.
You'd have Western. What do you call it over here?
Normal time.
Yeah.
Everything
Time.
else is
We
different.
call it
you call
time.
1984.
Western Standard Time.
Western, yep.
They just the military gives out different things, so they break it up.
Oh.
It's mainly for navies because navies work in such a big area.
Because
Yeah.
there's universal time, is there as
Well,
well?
there's Greenwich Mean Time. So Greenwich in England is like there's actually a place in Greenwich and there's a line on the thing and they're like time starts here.
Wow, that's so arrogant.
I know it's like time HQ.
Fuck, and that's where Andrew Tate thinks he lives.
Yeah.
So, because do you know where I've come across UT? Is it UT?
UTIs.
UTIs,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Do you know where I've come across that is while trying to find out like when the Formula One's on,
Oh.
and they give you like a UT. It's UTI, hey?
Wow, man.
I think it's UTI
Dirty
or whatever, universal time, and then the internet catches up quickly and goes your time,
Yeah,
and then gives
okay.
you what
So
the
a lot
actual.
of nerds with a VPN will like change the time and their region on their computer so they can get streaming things at the certain time. So like Star Wars nerds and stuff will be like,
Wow.
I want to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi the first time it comes out. So
Oh.
they're watching it Greenwich.
Because like
Wow.
on Netflix, they'll give you like it's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Oh, well, VPN sort of fucked me in Bali. It wouldn't let me watch KO. Eventually, I did a workaround, but NordVPN didn't work for KO, didn't work for gambling.
I've
Yeah,
got a
sports bet.
conspiracy theory that I reckon
Love
that VPNs are getting controlled by someone.
100%.
They're like, hey, have this thing that's secret. And you're like, okay, I'll trust you. Get fucked.
Yeah.
There was a police raid recently on like, I think it was like pedophiles and bikies where they made, like, so the cops spent a couple of years making a private messaging service.
Yeah.
And then they gave it to all the criminals and they're like, it's
So
so
smart.
fucking secret.
Mate,
and then
this
they
is-
had the backdoor keys and they were just like evidencing the fuck out of it.
Mate, that's what they said with
So smart.
with the like when we were having to register everywhere we went
No, that's just you and your sex
for
crimes.
for COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They said no, we're not going to use it. It's just in case if you get
Yeah.
COVID and you,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
we're
then
not
they
gonna
end up
share your
using it,
data.
and then
Yeah.
they shared the data and they got. I mean,
then it got
for a
hacked
good
as well.
reason. I think they got a pedophile or a murderer or something
That's
like
a
that.
good reason.
But there was a
I feel that's a good reason.
but it was
Depends.
It just showed
Depends how
you.
you look at
Did he murder a pedophile?
But it just showed you exactly what they can do with that data that they said they're not going to give to anyone else.
Yeah.
And then they end up selling. They sold that data, I'm pretty sure, to Google, or I'll fact check that one.
it's for
They sold it
ads.
to someone else for ads and for selling. So it ended up for
Everyone
selling.
can get JB Hi-Fi.
It's
They
ridiculous.
swept that app under the rug quick, didn't
Oh.
they? You know, they're like, hey, you need the app that talks to everyone to seize where they're COVID. And then it was obviously a big fail.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think.
And then they just kind of just went away.
Yeah, that's pretend we didn't lie to you again.
So how did you? Because how did you go with it? Because
Well, we were stuck in the lockdown cycle.
Perth's stuck in the 80s, so that's fucking lucky.
We had it bad. I mean, my favorite part was
Because where are
when
you
we all-
based? Melbourne.
Melbourne, yeah.
But are you
yeah.
originally Tasmanian?
I'm originally from Perth.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sweet.
born and bred. Left when I was 18, joined the army, and then
Yeah.
fucking ended up in Melbourne. But it was sad. It was
Yeah.
sad over there. My favorite part was when we turned on each other.
Ooh.
That was good.
Lord of the Fly style.
Well, they started getting us to police each other.
of course they did.
That was my favorite part. Like a 17-year-old girl that works at a cafe was like all of a sudden dealing with health documents.
I fucking hated that.
And
That's the.
I despise that.
If you're a
that came in.
if you're a conspiracy theorist minded sort of person, that's intentional division. But for me,
Yeah.
that's intentionally trying to create divides between the fact.
when we were on the
science.
countdown to vaccination, so there was kind of like we were locked up and we could go out at a certain time. You know, it was like 80. I can't remember what it was. It was
Yeah.
80% or whatever. That's when people got really nasty because it was like you just jump on Facebook for a second and they were like, I can't believe, just go out and get vaccinated. And it's like we were all sort of picking sides. I was very much on the side of just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not like care enough to like identify either way.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
I
a
know
clever. It's
So
a
careful.
clever.
You 2022, you very careful how you
I would
identify.
I would have been totally fine if like vaccination was a total choice, you know,
Yeah.
because I think like after everything's said and done, the vaccines probably turned out to be kind of
Shit.
useless.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not
Well,
as effective as the app.
so the booster was meant to make up for the ineffectiveness of
Sure.
and then the booster ended up being ineffective for anyone under the age of 49, which they didn't release until they were told to under the Freedom of Information Act.
For a
So
while-
I'm sure the fourth is going to be pretty similar.
For a while in Melbourne, everyone's a lot of people went right in on like identifying on one side or another.
Yeah.
So they had to double
That's
down
so
on that.
Melbourne.
I think
Right?
I think it's pretty clever though. Like from a governing body, like it's so easy for me, for example, if I don't want to do it, say fuck, I'm not doing what the government says. But then if I've got pressure from family, friends, wife,
yeah.
like kids, people I associate with, that pressure's far more influential
It
than
split
than the
families in
government.
half.
Yeah, 100%.
And
yeah.
especially some people were benefiting quite a lot from the pandemic financially, and some people were fucked.
Mm.
So it was sad. And then obviously we had the riots, I guess you'd call them, or
Mini riot,
protests or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Which,
Jeez, that was
Which
fun.
we had.
That was
the
fucking
organizer
great.
on.
Diogo?
what was it? Yeah, Diogo. He didn't organise it though, did he?
No.
The Melbourne ones.
They
Nah,
accused him of organising.
Sydney,
ones here.
Sydney or Melbourne?
In Melbourne.
Sydney.
Sydney.
Biggest ones in Sydney ever or something.
Yeah, it was awesome because we hadn't seen anything. So like we were just bored as well. That was
Yeah.
the biggest thing. We were bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone at the end, they had to get the lockdowns away because we just weren't doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone was just drinking piss in the street. It was actually fucking pretty fun.
Fuck
Yeah.
It's like Bali.
And you just couldn't go to work.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, if you just had a career like, you know, something that we
There
do,
was-
it was done.
There was a
Yeah.
couple of cool little. I seen that Neighbours when I drive around the neighbourhood, and Neighbours would they would really they would clutch at straws at ways of getting more than 8 people or whatever it was, or 2 families. So they'd have like 2 houses next to each other, and they'd both sit at the fence line,
Yeah.
and then they'd have like table there and table there, and then they'd be able to.
And that's when good neighbours become good friends.
Oh, they
Right,
just
so I really
finished.
like what you did there.
Yeah.
That's really lovely.
Yeah.
Just finished.
It's a positive.
Did you watch? I have not watched Neighbours for.
I haven't
I
watched
haven't
it
seen
since
it.
Toadie left. He probably died, came back, got kidnapped, held ransom, then came back again. I
Yeah, he's
don't
been
know.
back for a while, I think.
Totally.
But
What does he do with his career now? What is Jarryd
What are all
Rebecki?
of- I
What's
don't
his
know.
name?
Jarryd
That's his-
Rebecki.
Toadfish.
Yeah.
You know, he's got
Toadfish.
I think he's got a brother called Stingray, and there's a
What?
nephew.
That's
called
in
Tadpole
Yeah,
in universe.
that's right.
In universe.
That's right. He does Stingray.
Yeah.
Stingray
Yeah.
was way cooler than Toadie
he
as well.
He killed Steve Irwin. It was fucked. That episode
what
was
a
the worst.
crossover. I love that crossover.
Yeah.
There was a whole family of fish-related nicknames.
That's so
So
funny.
the writers had that continuity over the years to
Yeah.
be like, oh no, what would the character call?
There's the one that didn't make it. That's Spermy.
I feel sorry for the writers of those shows. Man, they must have to just pump out.
Oh my
fuck,
God.
on a like a timeline. They're
Yeah.
just like, what do we got now? They're like, I don't know.
Well, it's finished
Terrorists.
now. Did you
Yeah.
watch the
Fuck
the final scene?
No.
I didn't watch the final episode, but I seen on the final scene come up. So I watched the final scene, and it's Susan Kennedy,
Don't know.
Susan and Carl.
Oh,
I know
So,
Carl.
so Carl, his wife, Susan.
Is he a sex pest? Like he had. Like
No, he had an affair.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, that's
affair,
right.
yeah. With
So,
D?
yeah,
D? Hot D was hot.
Giving it a
Hot
D.
D.
Tony's
Giving it a
Hot
D.
D, yeah. And the final scene is her doing like a monologue while she's walking around the street while they're having a wedding or something like that, a street wedding, and it's Toadie's wedding or something like that. It was, and they had everyone in it, like Guy Pearce, Kylie Minogue, like everyone.
no reason.
Big budget.
Holly Valance, Natalie Imbruglia,
Holly Valance,
like all of them were in, not in this one scene, but in the final episode, and then.
It's like the Avengers.
The one I
Yeah.
did, the one I
It's
didn't
like
want.
the
The
end
one,
of the
yeah, it was. It was the end game of that, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to see Billy and Ann. Do you remember Billy and
I
Ann?
don't-
Billy and Ann.
Yeah.
Billy and Ann Billy was Toadie's best friend.
I got no idea, bro. I'm
No.
out.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to see Billy and Ann, and then
Yeah.
they didn't work. I don't think they made the cut.
What does Jarryd, the actor who is Jarryd Rebecki, do now?
What does Toadie do?
I looked up his net worth the other
Cameos.
day because he was getting a packet, like 120 grand, I think, a season at one stage,
Okay.
which is quite a lot. So
How much?
120 grand. He has a net worth of 4 mil. This is what Google told me.
Okay.
I looked at it for 10 seconds,
Okay.
and I'm telling you now as if it's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
But like, what's his next move? What is the actor who plays
Cameo.
Jarryd?
I know what it is.
You think he
Cameo.
can make a big?
100%. If Neighbours people are going to get birthday messages from Toadfish.
He's
Hey, Julie, Toadie here. Just want to say, all of you guys, you're neighbours, but you're good friends.
So-
Have a good one.
that's actually old mate from In Betweeners does that, and he's the number one in the world.
Crushing it
Jay?
too.
Jay,
Crushing it.
yeah, absolutely
Yeah.
killing it, like a
Oh,
lot.
but you hope you get the clunge.
Yeah,
Pass for the
yeah.
clunge.
It's fucking funny. I've seen a couple of his
Pussy
ones.
Patrol.
But yeah, Toadie, mate, he does an Uber Eats ad.
Ah,
There you go.
Tonight I'll be eating.
Yeah.
Tonight I'll be eating 4 chicks' pussies that I've been married to because he's
Bang.
a fucking absolute stud, man. He had like 4 hot chicks and he's like a fat dude with a shit nickname.
Yeah. He's giving everyone hope.
Yeah.
I've always thought, like, if they were real places, property prices would be fucking so low. Like, imagine Summer Bay, like, come out. Oh, what's happened lately? Oh, we've had a kidnapping, a bombing, a ransom, fucking shark attack, crocodile attack, a murder.
Murder, yeah.
Fucking everyone
That's
cheats on
true.
each other.
What?
There's been an affair at the school.
And Paul Robinson organised it all so he can buy it up.
Paul
Yeah.
Robinson.
Conspiracy. I always thought about that about Mount Thomas, the town in Blue Heelers.
Oh, yeah?
Population like 10,000. Highest crime rate
Yeah.
in Australia. Like there was something going on there
Yeah.
all the fucking time.
Peace out, Wolf Dog.
Hooroo, Wolfie. I feel good.
Feel good. Keep reliving the happiness, brother.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like Blue Healers, like a couple of those other ones. Yeah, you always go, well, how are all these things happening in one sort of situation? I always thought that about the X-Files. I assumed they were all like in one spot, and then I realized, like, because I wasn't.
What a career for those two.
They used to go everywhere, I guess, within the show. It wasn't like in Boston or.
Yeah.
Yeah, there they are now.
It's a
chasing
good
us.
sound effect by the sound.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. Did you used to watch X-Files?
It was creepy, man.
No, I think I was a bit young.
As
So-
a kid, it was that the music was
Yeah.
The music,
terrifying.
the music was literally.
Iconic as, and it was fucking chilling, man.
So my mum would let me watch it, but she wouldn't let my 2 younger brothers watch it. So we'd all have to go to bed,
Then
and
you
then
get back
I'd
up.
have to come back out, sneak back
Yeah.
out, and then I'd get halfway through the episode and go, I want to go back to bed.
Yeah. My
I was
mum
fucking
used to do
shitting
that.
myself, and yeah,
That was like when, because how old are you?
35.
35, same age. I'm the 87 model.
87?
You're the
87.
rabbit.
87
you?
assemble.
Yeah, 35 as well.
Yeah, nice.
87.
So we had like the best television ever.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think so.
Simpsons.
Hands down.
Oh,
Cheese-
yeah,
Cheese
yeah,
South
TV.
Park.
Yep.
It was just like from the morning to the night. It was
Planet-
just fucking
Captain Planet.
blockbusters.
And see, this is something I've
Banana Man.
noticed as a
Samurai Pizza Cats.
Oh, shut
Biker
up.
Mice from
you
Mars.
get me so horny.
the biker mice from Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were mice
But
from Mars.
That were bikies.
Were they
What have you
bikies
lost,
on Mars,
Wolfie?
or they came to Earth and didn't fit in?
No, that's
They
mine.
were.
Underneath it. No. No, that's mine.
Yeah, were the,
what-
were,
yeah.
the, were the mice already bikers on Mars, or did they come to Earth and
Was it
didn't,
danger
didn't
mice?
fed in and they were
I
like, they kind
think-
of looked for
I
association?
think they came from Mars and became bikies here.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't. Yeah, they
So
felt
they
alienated.
one percenters. Yeah.
Yeah. the real
That
1%ers.
super
We're in a
1%.
mouse-based gang.
Yeah.
On bikies.
Yeah. Well, they would never rat. So they
good.
were.
This is. I like this, Delby.
ultimate.
You're very good today.
Yeah.
I like this. You're doing
That's-
really
There we
well.
go. The Dexies are winning.
Classic.
Danger Mouse was a different one.
Yeah,
Danger's
that was
house,
it. That was a different one, hey?
Yeah.
He
See,
was
this
like
is-
a superhero mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always like in danger.
Did you used
And he
to?
was a mouse.
So did you used to rate channels for like what they would show and like how much cooler they were?
ABC for me as a kid in
Yep.
primary school,
Yep.
ABC was it.
Yeah, because I had an art
Come home
attack.
from school, Art Attack was dope. Fucking Mr. Squiggle. I,
Yep.
I still don't
But
know.
what, to what age though are you talking here?
12,
Okay.
11, 12. Because
Okay.
after school you come home and
I'd watch
Victor and
Wipeout.
Hugo, Bunglers in Crime.
Yeah,
would
but
be
I'd
on.
watch
Do you remember
Wipeout.
them?
Bangers and mash.
You remember
Wipeout?
Wipeout? That was on like Channel 7.
Yeah, Wipeout was.
Yeah.
What
Wipeout was
amazing?
Amazing. I wanted
Why
to
have
be.
they not brought that shit
Luke Joseph
back?
Ryan used to be a host on there.
Yeah, right.
Who was the original
You know
one?
that?
Jane,
Luke Joseph
Jane?
Ryan used to be a host on there.
Used to be a host.
Yeah, he used to be on Amazing.
Amazing.
And I think Luke Boland was on as well.
I fucking loved that show.
Yeah, it was so good. When they run through and they miss
Yeah,
the keys,
and
you're
you
like,
can
"Hey,
watch
turn
it. So
around,
you're like,
you
it's in the
fuck."
fucking toilet.
Do you know,
keys in the toilet.
I was
under this Donkey Kong.
I was devastated. In year 7, my school had to go and they had a limited number of kids and they had to have people, they were either going to choose people who couldn't go or they wanted volunteers, and I volunteered to stay back, and it was like my favourite show.
You idiots.
I don't know why I
Absolute
did
nerd.
that, but it ended up being a cool day. Like I just chilled
Oh,
at
yeah,
school.
pretty cool.
It was, but I really
How
wanted to be
cool
on
school.
Sounds cool, I guess.
No, but I didn't stay. It was year 7. Like we just watched movies and shit like
Or
that.
you could have fucking played Super Mario was
Game-
one of the games.
Yeah,
Game
crushing
Boy.
it.
Yeah.
Our school was on It's Academic.
Oh yeah, what school was that?
Oh, really?
Linwood
Linwood.
High. Yeah.
Fuck.
So
Are you obviously lost?
well, they cut it.
Yeah.
It didn't make the air 'cause we were all pumped, and then they said, "Oh, you know, we do 15 a season, and we only do 10," and we would.
Wanneroo never got invited.
Oh,
I would have gone on for sure. I fucking
My
I
only,
didn't mind it.
my only brush with television was I was in the school choir, grade 7, and I think it's around Christmas time.
Yeah.
They'd always
when the
is that
pedos come out.
when the pedos come
Yeah.
out after the news or
Yeah.
before the news. I can't
It
remember.
depends on where
Yeah.
you're from.
And why does it depend where you're from?
Well, I don't know. Just felt like the right thing to say.
I was like,
at the
holy
time.
shit! Depending
Well,
on
if you're on,
you've
if you're on
got.
Western
Chuck
Standard,
enough shit
if
at
you're
a
on
wall.
Western Standard Time or if you're on Eastern Standard Time, it just depends.
Yeah, and then like we sung some, I don't know what we sung, but like the camera was coming and they were like, "Don't look at it, like this is showbiz." And
Oh,
then like,
shit.
Yeah.
Mum's ready like to record it on the VHS.
Yeah.
and then you just watch it. She brings it out every now and then.
VHS.
And the camera's just going past, and my eyes just track the whole thing. We go, oh no, yeah, fucked it up bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Like my set routine was mum and dad would watch the news 5 till 6, and then the TV was the kids because we only had one TV.
Simpsons.
Like Simpsons,
Seinfeld.
The Nanny,
7 o'clock Simpsons.
The Nanny.
Working at a flower shop and brushing
Yep,
queens
and
when
then
her boyfriend kicked her out.
Seinfeld.
Where's the chefy? Where was she to go?
That's like
Where was she to
Janice.
be? She's out on her fanny. Love that
The nanny
shit.
named Fran.
I loved it, mate.
How funny was that Butler?
Yeah, it was
Niles,
good.
Niles.
and
Niles.
CC had this thing going on.
Yeah.
So what-
And it was like great character.
What's
shit.
Yeah.
what's hard now?
I feel like in a different, if we were a conspiracy theory, the nanny, Fran,
Yep.
is sisters with Janice. Fran and Jan from Friends.
Oh.
Janice.
Like it's all the same universe.
Yeah, because they both were the exact same. They look the same. They sound the same.
yeah,
So
but was
I'm
it the
creating
stereotype of is it Jewish?
Nah,
Yeah,
New
they were
Yorker or
Jewish.
something.
Yeah, New York. Yeah, New York.
I've got a
Ah,
mate.
fuck
I got a mate
knows.
of mine that smokes heaps of bongs, and he like always tells me, he goes, "Hey, everything on telly is in the same universe."
Oh.
And he linked together Tom Hanks. He's like, right? He's like, Castaway, Apollo 13. They're just like more adventures
But they're not.
of Forrest
That's not
Gump.
TV.
Fuck. More Adventures of Forrest
And then
Gump.
Forrest Gump got AIDS from Jenny, and that's why he's in Philadelphia.
Ah, that's good. That's pretty
And
good.
he's got all these things. Every time I see him, I'm like, "What have you been working on?" And he's like, Steven Seagal. He's like, "Boom, boom, boom." I'm like, "Fuck yeah!"
Oh, I
yeah,
love that.
Sylvester Stallone was like used to be in the army, and then he did Rambo. Then he started boxing and shit.
And
it's
then
like,
he was with his mum and protected her or stuff on my mum will shoot. shoot.
That movie.
That's where he's got his
is
training from.
fucking great.
Do you know the backstory of that?
No.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly were rivals. So any movie that got cast.
Yeah.
And the script came to Arnold and he thought it was that shit.
Which one?
Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. Arnold was like, this is the worst script I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he wanted Sly to get it, so he pretended he was super interested in it. He's like, yeah, I love this script. And he let it
it looks good.
He went it leaked.
I'd love to work with this director.
Yeah. And he let it leak to Sly, and then they were interested because Arnold was interested, and then Sly took it, and he was like, fucking
Arnold
idiot.
Schwarzenegger is a
idiots,
fucking
bro.
alpha
You
dog.
idiots.
Have you read his autobiography?
No.
One of the best. It changed my life.
He's a
man.
genius.
Yeah, you were impressed by what he can fit into a day.
Yeah,
hey?
full change my
Yeah.
you could say it fucked my life, but it got me to where I am now because reading what he did from when he woke up to when he went to bed.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got 18 hours when I'm awake. Why would I not utilize all of those hours?
He's the one that said you got to sleep faster.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's like, I sleep 6 hours a day. And some people say, hey, Arnold, you need 8. He goes, no, I just sleep faster.
That's so good.
Arnold Schwarzenegger has got the funniest gag of any gag I like in it, and it's like the one line in an act. You know, 'cause you've seen Commando.
Yeah.
So it starts,
ages
and then he
ago.
just murders like 50, 100 people, right?
Yeah.
It's
So
incredible.
just like American Army.
Yeah, and it's exactly, it's like Fallujah.
Yeah.
And then he starts it, and it's his daughter gets taken, and they're like, some people are like, we need you, you're the best, which is every action film starts. And he's like, you know,
Does he
I'm
then
retired.
call? He's like, I possess a very special set of skills. I will find you.
He's there with his daughter, and then these terrorists take his daughter, so they have to work with him. But she's reading a magazine, and on the front is Boy George. And he's like, what are you doing? And then he takes this magazine, looks at the front, and he goes, they should have called him Girl George. And then 400 people die. And I'm like, did he have creative control over that fucking decision?
He definitely would have.
You know what he's been? He's like, I like it. But 'cause I was watching the behind the scenes of that movie, and essentially Arnie just murders heaps of people.
Yeah.
And then like it's talking to him, and it's why he picked up the project, and he's like, it came across my desk, I read the script, and I'm thinking, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Of course it is, Arnie. You've done 7 films like that the last
exact
year.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking,
His story is interesting.
well, the Adam Sandler movies are all in the same universe.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are
'Cause
they?
The caddy,
Even Little Nicky?
the
Oh,
caddy
yeah,
is
they
always
cross
the same
over.
caddy.
Hi, my name's Tom. He's
Yeah.
in, what is it, 40?
Yeah. I don't know about Little Nicky, but yeah, almost all Adam Sandler's ones are in the Adam Sandler universe.
Yeah, they have like crossover characters. Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
interesting.
There's always, and there's the guy.
So what about like Adam Sandler's characters?
Oh, fuck.
If they ever cross
Dunno.
over.
Yeah, I think it's just the same one.
The elements of his psyche.
He's probably just a schizophrenic, and each movie is a different part of his personality.
But I was talking about like old school movies, old school TV shows and stuff, and how you had to wait. So now my daughter is on an iPad and she'll flick
Just binge.
on YouTube Kids to the next one. If she's not happy with it, next one. Same with Netflix,
That's what
next.
girls do on Tinder.
Whereas on old TV, like for us, it sounds spoiled, but we'd have to wait for ads.
Yeah.
So like,
Yep.
And a
we'd
week-
have to
and
They
wait
wrote
a
them
week.
in,
Yeah.
and they wrote them in that way.
Yeah.
They were like, they each, I guess, 3 parts of if you look at Simpsons, which I think is a 22-minute episode in a half-an-hour slot.
Yeah.
That's 2 ad breaks.
Yes.
They would create them in like an act system, like you would as a
Yes.
first act, second act, third
theatre.
act, and you would go boom. Like I've written on TV stuff, and they still put it in case it gets picked up, and they write in an ad break, and it's got to finish on enough
Wow.
suspense.
What
that
did you
can
write
get
for?
Through. I worked on like an independent thing that got turned into a pilot, which is called The Bistro, which was just about a struggling restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was fucking incredible working with like creating something from scratch is so fun.
yeah.
Just been like, you create characters as well, and you write them in, and then we do this thing where it's like, we call it panel beating. So you create your characters, what they care about, what they don't care about, and then you go, right, 4 people in a car accident, one's got a broken leg, who does what?
Well,
And
yeah.
you start throwing characters
Andrew Tate
into
leaves
like-
them to die.
And then it leads to creating a situation.
Well, you sort
That's
of
a great way of,
you panel beat characters, so then you figure out like what the fuck they would do.
Yeah.
So then you get dimensions and stuff, because it's
That's pretty cool.
when you start writing characters, you want everyone to be good, but you're
Yeah.
like, nah, it's
The,
like
the bad guys are more fun.
you know how good like King Joffrey was in Game
Oh,
of Thrones.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like that
I've never
kid-
wanted to murder a kid more in my life.
And it, like actual people were like
Yeah.
sending him death threats, be like, "Fuck you," and
Yeah.
it's like, dude, he's
I'm an
not real,
actor.
bro.
Yeah.
He's doing such a good job. You want to murder him? Like,
Yeah.
give him some props.
Who do you
But
think
it's
was
like-
some of the best bad guys ever made? I liked Yuri in Stranger Things. the peanut butter smuggler. He was a bad guy that I quite liked.
Do you think he's a bad guy though?
He's not a bad guy.
He's not a bad guy.
He was a bad guy.
Yeah, he's. I guess
the
because
end.
he double crossed him.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a sucker for like old school like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, you didn't know what he was, and then like I'm a bit of a Star Wars guy, but it's like Luke Skywalker, right? For example, is like the sickest cunt ever invented.
Yeah.
Did you know like good his first day of work was?
What did he do?
Well, he was living on a desert planet farming like water.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all of a sudden his uncle's died, and they're like, hey, you got to go on this mission. Boom. He's like, first day of work, he's on a battle station, rescues a princess, right? Takes her back to the fucking place. And then they're like, hey, all right, you got the information. Can you fly on this suicide mission? He's like, yeah, I can fly. They're like, who the fuck are you, bro? He's like, I'll fly the mission. And he's like, all right, we'll fly the mission. Then everyone's sitting around and they're like, oh, you know, they got to shoot this fucking missile in a 2-meter hole.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, we can't do it. And he's like, dude, that's no bigger than like a womp rat. And everyone's like, fine. All right, we'll fucking do it.
Well,
Spoken
then he
like
gets
a
up
true
there.
army
What does
guy.
what does he do? He gets up there. What does he do? Everyone else dies. He's like, I'm going to shoot this hole through the fucking rat-sized fucking thing. Am I going to use a computer? Nah. I'm going to use the fucking magic. By the way, he's a magician.
Yeah.
Nails it from the hip, just fucking shoots it in, blows the joint up. Then he's just like running the joint. Like, do you know how much fucking pussy he would get in the Rebel
He'd even
Alliance?
fuck
he
his
get
own
his-
sister.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine 3 years later they're on that ice planet in a bar and like he can fuck whoever he wants. Like a chick's like, that's Luke Skywalker,
but,
bro.
did
That's
you
why
hear
in
he
the
fucked his
sequels he's in
sister?
exile because all these like messages and shit came out. Like him and Han Solo are just destroying the joint.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Smashing the
You
puss.
can't tell me there's no power imbalance
No, I
when
know.
you're Luke Skywalker, right?
He's got everything.
When you think about like Star Wars and the Darth Vader, you're saying he's your favorite sort of villain. Like, I wonder if I don't know enough history of cinema, but if he's one of the first bad guys that you sort of had empathy for and you sort of cared for in the end.
I was listening to a recording of like of two things. One where like the I am your father thing.
Yeah.
And the audience just lost their fucking mind. They were like, what the hell?
Oh, like the audience reaction of when they first.
Because like this is like our parents, right?
Yeah.
When they were like teenagers
Because-
in tight shirts and small denim shorts, just losing their fucking mind. You'd be like, what do you mean he's his dad? He's black.
Well, some of the greatest some of the greatest villains that I can remember have always had that side that they're doing things for the better of something, or they have a
Thanos.
Thanos is a perfect example.
What about Loki? Though?
But
He's
like,
just Loki's a good bad guy.
No, but even like
He'd be weird in bed, wouldn't he, Loki?
Why?
He's just got fucking bondage
all
vibes and shit, hasn't he?
even like the Joker, like he had like he was crazy, but he had
Intentions.
like intentions of disrupting this system, and
Yeah.
Bane. Like I'm using just superhero villains, but that's where normal villains are. But the best villains seem to have a side that you empathise with, and you can understand why they're coming from that angle. I wonder if Star Wars is that first like.
Well, I've only
step
only
into
watched them when I was 10. I watched I think it's the last 3, which is the first 3, or whatever way around it was. The ones that got released first. So I haven't seen anything else other than them.
You haven't seen the other ones,
No,
so
I haven't-
I
as
didn't
an
like the
adult-
second 3. I wasn't a fan, but I actually
But that was
enjoyed
like
the
corporate shit.
Yeah, I enjoyed the
Like think tank. Like they just made like money out of them.
Yeah,
You know,
I enjoyed
as you
7,
would.
8, and 9. I didn't mind them.
They were fine.
I think yes.
I mean, we could sit here for 4 hours and I could tell you why they're bad.
Yeah, so
like you can have your
that no, but that's So I'm not a fan. I'm not like I just watch those ones and go, hey, I enjoyed those movies.
I got enough to know Jabba the Hutt, reference at Clive Palmer, Gina Reinhardt, done.
One of the things about being in the military, it ruins action films.
Yeah, because it's so unrealistic.
Because I sit there and I'm like, well, you know, obviously that gun
Can't
has a
happen.
30-round magazine.
Yeah.
He shot 450 from the hip, and also you can't hit anything when you shoot not from like it's really
Yeah.
difficult to.
Have
shoot
you seen
something.
The Grey Man?
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Grey Man.
so
So
good.
you
On
I haven't seen
Netflix.
it yet, but I was going to say you'd be able to pick it apart, I guess. But
yeah, you pick it apart, but fuck, it's good, man.
The movies are getting
On
good
Netflix.
though.
On
Like,
Netflix.
continuity and
Ryan
like,
Gosling.
realism.
Well, they're putting actors through like actual fucking like CQB, which is like close quarter battle, like sort of drills. Like Keanu Reeves is actually a ripping gun at like shooting
Because
shit.
of John Wick.
Yeah, exactly. Like he learned it. He's like one of those guys. He's like, no, I'm going to do it all properly.
Yeah.
And I've seen him do like drills in galleries, which is like, you know, targets are popping up and down. I'm like, this motherfucker's good.
Of course
Like,
he
he
is.
is a weapon.
It's Keanu
Like,
Reeves,
I
man.
would
He's the
actually
nicest
be-
man alive, and he's a fucking great
But he
shot.
can also like shoot fucking a shotgun, drop it, pull out a pistol, bop, 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 bop. Like he's fucking
He's,
legendary.
he seems so like down to earth.
Yeah.
It's so kind. Someone that I
his
really
missus
actually
isn't even that hot, so you know he's super down to earth,
and
man.
he's-
He cares about
and
personality.
he's a
asexual
terrible
or
actor.
something.
No. Hey?
Is he asexual?
No, he's just got a girlfriend, but she's just
He's just a
old,
good
she's
guy.
grey. Yeah.
So he's just a good bloke.
Yeah, he's a Hollywood superstar
Yeah, he
with a
likes
normal
personality.
chick.
Is he
Yeah.
possibly the worst actor though in Hollywood? Big name. Like actor, not like person.
Same act. He's the same character each one. So is Denzel Washington.
No, but no.
Pissed off, arrogant
I
black
heard
guy.
a good
Yeah.
analogy. There's a difference between an actor and a movie star.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Because he's not a
So
good
he's
actor.
a movie star.
I would say so.
Yeah.
For sure. It's
But he's not
Keanu
an
Reeves.
actor.
Excellent.
Because he doesn't he can't go and figure out the character's motives. He just plays a thing.
Yeah, well, I think that's... I'm not a good barometer of
Yeah.
someone's talent artistically behind the camera. But yeah, a director was talking to me about the concept. Like, some people are just movie stars. Like, you look at The Rock. Like, you're paying The Rock to be The Rock, or Kevin Hart. You're paying him to be Kevin Hart. He's not, locking himself in a room and actually being a junkie to play a junkie.
Yeah, whereas Nicolas Cage, on the other hand,
Phenomenal.
he was in The Rock, which is a very fucking good movie. That's got the greatest odd couple of Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. At one point, Sean Connery's like, well, actually, the Rock was a fought in the Civil War. And Nicolas Cage is like, that's really good, but we want to find some rockets. It's like, what is this movie? Why did you invent this fucking blockbuster?
Nicolas
that
Cage thought it was
crushed?
the Rocket.
But yeah, so the army's ruined every fucking action film ever, because I can't sit there and just be like, what are you doing, guys? Like, what is this? This is not
Well,
real.
John Wick and Neo are the exact same. They're the exact same person.
Yeah.
The same acting, same everything. But
They
before
are.
we move on to army stuff, your bistro, did it get picked up? Did it get put on TV?
No way. It's
Done.
fucking difficult. So if you are not someone,
Yeah.
it is next to impossible
Yeah.
to make anything these days, because all streaming services.
If you attach someone to it, can
Yeah, but then how do you get them?
Yeah.
And if you're attachable,
You just got to
then
make
how
YouTube
many people
series.
are trying to get you attached to stuff? You know, you are just getting scripts.
As
put
Buddhists,
across.
we are not attached to it.
It's like anything these days. The general path is make it yourself,
Yeah.
put it on YouTube,
Yeah.
establish an audience,
And then people.
then we'll.
But
pick
who
it
gives
up.
a fuck you getting picked up? Unless they're going to pay your stacks, just do your own thing.
Yeah,
and put it on-
we're
put it
planning
on
on
YouTube,
we're
yeah.
planning on just doing our own YouTube channel.
And
And
put
just,
it on YouTube and fucking kill it with yourselves.
Yeah.
That's it.
We want to do a Hard Yarns TV show, just to get the pod going better.
yeah, but
Do
even that, like,
so bits of stand up, like short films, sketches, freestyle rap.
grimy have an audience in here.
Well, that's the beauty
Eating
of
competition.
the internet, is decentralized everything.
Yeah,
You know, just look at what TikTok is fucking killing it on everything, because you just everyone's walking around with a billboard in their
Yeah.
pocket,
yeah,
and you can be on their billboard.
Yeah.
If you have the right talent. That's why I said I'm really impressed with what you guys have got going on here, because you're doing everything to compete in the content world.
Yeah.
And the content world recognizes and rewards quality,
Yeah.
because we're all you ever seen killer stand-ups that just fucking don't do it online because their product's shit?
Yeah.
The jokes are sick,
Yeah.
but it's a thin thing in the middle of the camera. It's not full screen.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the stuff, and it's just because audiences are trained to see quality. The general sort of person doesn't know what it is, but they know what it isn't.
Yeah. It's so tough as well. I mean, even stand-up specials that are great, they
doesn't.
still don't do justice to going to a live show. And it's we're going to try and get Luke Kidgel on when he's here in September. We're looking at his
Dude's
stuff.
killing it, man.
Yeah, his stuff's a bit grainy, but it's all just real authentic. He's doing stand-up.
So how did
even
Luke get
Rory,
big though? Through videos?
YouTube,
Yeah.
YouTube and podcast,
I saw
YouTube videos.
because he just sold out 5 nights at the Comics Lounge in Melbourne, which is 500 seats, I think. So
How does he go?
2,500 people in a week?
I haven't
Nuts.
watched him do too much.
People go to. This is what I think about those guys, and a lot of comics will have their opinion being about YouTube people. They're like, it's not this and it's not that. It's like,
their
shut the
audience.
fuck up, man. They're doing it, right?
Yeah.
They're doing it, and whatever quality it if it doesn't align with your level of quality, you just need to
And just don't go watch.
be happy for them first, and
Yeah.
then just do whatever. But the audience is generally going there to be with them.
Yeah.
They're like, I follow this person. I'm in their life. I listen to their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see their clips. And then because he does a stand-up show, I believe, and then at the end he does a Q&A,
Yeah.
and then it's Photo Central.
Yeah.
And that's what they're there for. They're
Yeah.
there to go see someone
That they like.
that they like,
Yeah.
and be with. They spend a night with him almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking inspiring.
Yeah.
So
it's like Frenchie as
Correct.
well. People just follow, they want to be part of it. He'll go out, audience, photos, film. Yeah. It's a whole different. It's a different ball game.
So building
It's
the
just a different art form.
Yeah, it's just different.
It's like I don't really like improv, but I can see its skill.
Yeah.
And then there's some
Wait till
people
you
that
watch
like
Who's
improv.
Run, bro. It's fucking.
Well, and that's how like Nessa, a perfect example. Like he's Nessa, is it Nessa Nazim or is that how do you pronounce his name?
Don't know. Nazim.
Naz from Nazar Hussain.
No,
from
from Melbourne.
No, fucking the one with
Nima.
Nima. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, there's a mate of mine from Canada that just impersonates Gary V, and he just got to open for Russell.
guy?
Yeah.
Right. You know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw him do something with Gary V.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got an NFT? You got a content?
Yeah.
That's good.
So
Okay, bro. Yeah, cool.
he's someone who'd be a perfect example of like did a bit of stand up, but he's gotten big in the video world.
Stand up and then content.
Yeah,
And
so the
got
content.
huge.
Yes, so the content is what got him huge, and I guess that's what Frenchie
He
for
just
all I
opened
know.
for Russell Peters last week.
That's what I mean.
I
So
mean, that's
like,
incredible.
for example, like Frenchie got big through his videos.
Yeah.
He's
With
still-
Shooter Williamson.
Yeah,
And I think as comedians, we generally like to, if it's not stand up, we think it's fucking hack. But it's just another, you can do whatever you want in life. And it's okay to be happy for other people doing things that create.
What a
You're
good
just
guest.
doing your
Positive
thing.
vibes. from
perfect.
Jarryd. Yeah.
So it's what you're saying is there's hope for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like if you've, it's like, fuck, man, like this life is short and shit for most
Yeah.
people. It's like if you can't just do what you want to do and create something that you like doing and then people associate with that. If that's not success, and I don't know, like, what's the point of the whole thing?
It's
right?
just like going to stand up and seeing a wolfie who's high energy, fucking super smart, doesn't let you have a break, and then you'll see someone else who is slow,
Different thing.
methodical, still stand up, two different things.
Yeah.
YouTube person, if they're doing stand up, sometimes it's not what you're used to, but it's what their audience like. So
Yeah.
why would you fucking try appease the masses if you've got a fucking solid audience that follow you, that support you?
Exactly.
Fucking find your niche, man. It's like being an accountant trying to do fucking coffees.
Yeah, right.
Like,
exactly.
do taxes, 6-year loan, enjoy it, get paid, enjoy it, fucking be
Enjoy it
content.
because one day we're all going to be 70 and no one's going to fucking care about us,
That's
right?
right.
Because when we're all going to be 70,
Especially
right?
if you're an army vet.
Yeah, right? You're going to be sitting around an RSL. Because I see this all the time in like RSLs. People just like hang on to the past and they just bang on about it constantly. And it's like, it's okay to reinvent yourself. And it's okay to do what you want in life. Because one day, 20-year-olds are going to think you're a fucking dickhead.
Yeah, already happened.
Because you're old, right? And you're irrelevant. Like I was reading this like Roman philosopher and he was talking about this thing and he's
Was
like...
it Marcus Aurelius?
It wasn't Aurelius. He wasn't a
could you
stoicism. I
imagine?
do like stoicism.
Yeah.
But he was essentially, the shtick of this thing he was writing was the kids these days are fucked. I'm paraphrasing, right?
Yeah.
He's like, they don't listen. The empire's going to ruin, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, shit just keeps going.
Yeah.
Like at one stage, Elvis came out and everyone was like, this is fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
We can't have this. And then the young people were like, no, we're taking this next level.
Yeah.
And they did. So like we're doing stuff now that eventually people are going to think we're conservative as fuck and just like irrelevant.
Yeah, twerking.
So
be like,
enjoy your
"Oh."
life while you can, because one day kids are going to think you're a fucking
Yeah.
But people are
Miley
always.
Cyrus twerking was
Oh
insane.
yeah, do you remember? Yeah,
Now it's just
that was insane at the time,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Oh, like
the wrecking
with
ball, the fucking the ass
with the-
hanging out.
yeah,
just
MTV
been nor-
Awards or whatever it
Yeah.
was.
It's just been normalised.
Even Elvis, they
Desensitized.
told him in the studio
Yeah, don't.
not to do the hip move.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because the girls would fucking go mental.
Yeah.
And then he starts off, he's like, ain't nothing but a hound. And he does the hips.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, ah!
Yeah.
But all he does is that. And they go fucking bananas. Like, what's the equivalent these days? You'd have to get your dick out. Like, oh, there
You'd
it
have
is.
to do on stage.
No,
you'd have to
I've
do
done
a
that, Delby, it
helicopter with
doesn't
your
work.
cock,
Yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah.
you? Don't do the cock thing with the helicopter. And you're like, everyone goes mental.
It's
Nuts.
funny how every generation seems to point fingers at the kids. Did you
Yeah.
see that the headline?
Especially the Catholic generation.
I seen recently someone had clipped headlines from like the last 50 years,
Yeah.
and it was like the kids these days don't want to work was but the basic
Right.
thing of it, and it was every single generation for the last
Yeah,
50, 60 years. It
Yeah.
said the kids these days don't want to work. Well, maybe they don't, or maybe every older generation just says the kids these days don't want to
I
work.
read an opinion piece about when the radio came out, and it was like an American one, and they're like, the kids these days, they're just sitting around listening to the baseball. This is like 20s or something, like 21, I think it was. And it's
there's a part of it that's like, yeah, go and experience it and stuff, but Yeah, that sort of shit. They're always saying that something modern's going to
Well, I
fuck it
wonder.
up.
I've just recently seen. Most of my grandparents have passed away now, but my grandfather when he was alive, fought in a war. He fucking had 8 kids. He pretty much built a house with his hands, and then the email came along and fucked him. Computers just have you seen your old people try to write an email? It is hard.
My
work.
granddad's hell technologically adept, actually.
Really?
Yeah, he's
Just
gangster
killing
as
it.
fuck with that. But yeah,
So what's the development?
just teachers that are 60.
What's the development that's gonna that we just won't get our heads around?
Oh, yeah.
When social media goes straight into your neural system,
I think it's
and
the
our grandkids
refusal.
are like, "Fucking granddad, it's easy,
Yeah.
right? You just fucking blink twice." And and we're just like, I can't do it, man. Why is my bank account right here? I've got a thing opening
Yeah.
up there, and we're gonna be lost, and that's gonna be cool.
There has to be a bit of ego involved in it, I reckon, because, for example, TikTok's a perfect example. We refuse to. I was like, I'm not fucking
Same.
doing it.
Yeah.
You had resistance.
It just looks shit. It's stupid, and it sort of is still. But we're just doing it all the time.
I think our retirement's gonna be really good. Virtual reality.
Oh, yeah.
Will push by the time say 40 years from now, it's gonna be fucking great. We'll probably be sitting. Who's to say we're not retired right now?
I'm interested.
This could be us reliving the youth that
I mean,
hasn't happened.
I'm interested because could be, that's right.
Simulation.
I'm interested because I seen a photo the other day which really threw me. It made me realize what are we going to be like soon in the next 30 or 40 years. So it was a picture of a heap of people on the beach in the 70s.
yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, you sent it me.
Yeah.
And they're all sort of slender.
Yep.
No one's wearing sun cream. No one's on their phones. They're all talking. No one's wearing hats. No one's nothing like that. And
Boring.
Yeah. Having fun, engaging, and then the next photo is 50 years later, 2022.
Fucking beach whales.
Beach whales, fucking phones,
Yeah, but
skin
these
cancer.
are probably the same generation of people that were actively kind of hitting their partners pretty regularly and being ultra racist.
So there's obvious.
They were in Vietnam just killing fucking villages.
She was skinny because she was running around the kitchen, man.
So there's obviously progress that's obviously
you
been
got to look
great.
at it. It's like some of them, there was people around then that were
Health,
definitely used to be
domestic
Nazis,
violence.
when Nazis were popular.
But the point of that thing was the health side of
Yeah.
obviously,
Yeah.
and the point was made that skin cancer and stuff wasn't as prominent back then, whereas the sun isn't any
Hasn't
different,
changed.
hasn't changed. So they're saying that
Because the world's spinning faster, we have more sun.
potentially, obviously, sun cream helps with skin cancers and stuff like that. But there's also arguments against the sun cream because of the chemicals in it helping cause the skin cancer as well. So, and the foods we eat, they're fucking dusted in fucking 100 chemicals these days, and so all of that, it's all combining to this fucking.
It's only 200 years ago that you'd probably eat things that were within your radius of globalization.
Tonight I'll be eating whatever the fuck I can.
Yeah.
Globalization has pushed, food allergies fucking crazy. Right?
Yeah.
So go back 1,000 years, we're eating things that are maximum 3 days away.
Yeah.
And now we get to have fruit from all over the world, things that are canned and coming there, preservatives and all that sort of stuff. No one's breastfeeding anymore. It's a crazy.
I try my best
You
to.
look like the indigenous population in Australia. Most of them are lactose intolerant because nothing here was milked before we arrived. Alcoholism,
Just their land for profit.
no fermentation of booze.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest known recipe to man is a stone tablet that has come from Syria, I believe. It's 5,500 years old, and they can't work out if it's beer or bread.
Yeah, my nonna has one a bit older for her pasta sauce.
Have they not just tried to follow the recipe? Just go. Oh, it was actually it was a nice pie.
Yeah.
If you look at that, it's so we've been drinking as a sort of a gene pool
Yeah.
for that long.
Yeah.
So now we're doing all kinds of stuff that's why allergies are just mental.
Yeah.
Because we're giving people a mother used to eat things and then breastfeed a child, and then it sort of inoculated it.
Yeah. So and that's what I was going to say just
Can't
before. The
inoculate it till you
breastfeeding is
try it.
obviously a thing where you want. I think the preference is always breastfeeding because of the benefits from it.
Disclaimer: we're not here telling you how to live your life.
But there's also
do you.
of course. So we breastfed, my ex-wife breastfed for as long as she could, and then we moved to formula. We're not against either way, but the foods that we're eating now, again, are fucking full of these chemicals. So who's to say that what we're putting into the breast milk is not worse? Really, like honestly, could be.
Yeah.
Even though there's
like
obviously
our generation's thalidomide, you know, like that drug.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, it
All
helps
the babies
babies,
are
and then
getting big
babies
ass
have
heads and shit.
Yeah.
All
so it's like-
deformities, 6 fingers and that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fuck.
we were joking about this the other day. Like when I was in the army, I took heaps of fucking vaccines, like
Oh,
hundreds.
What? Vaccines or vaccines?
For certain
vaccines.
countries like Ebola and stuff
so
like that. Yep.
we had so many one day that you go 3 in one arm, 3 in the other, 3 in each arse cheek. It was
Wow.
the best day ever because you get the day off.
Fuck yeah.
So you would have they would have put the COVID one
It's
in
like
your
a
and
pussy
would have
version of
bent the needle.
steroids.
And it's like, oh fuck, we signed a whole lot of waivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I saw
what are
the
you
other
doing?
day the abortion on my body, my right. I'd rather have the choice, and then it cut to someone in the military. It's like, well, you've given your body to the government. And he was like,
So yeah,
fuck.
that's why I struggle sometimes with the conspiracy theories because they're like, oh, it's the government, and I'm like, dude, I've worked for them. Like,
They don't know
you
what's
should
going
see
on.
them try organize anything.
yeah.
When we were in the highlight that when we were in the army, we used to do these exercises, and then at the end, all the ammunition that was left over, they're like, all right, you just get in a line and just shoot it off. And we're like, why? And they're like, because then we won't get as much next time if we hand it back. And we're like, we didn't fucking use this lot. Like, what are we
Wow.
doing there? So everyone just stands in line and just shoots stuff, throws like fucking gas grenades, and cut down trees with a machine gun. You ever cut down a tree with a machine gun?
I've never even cut down a tree.
It is my preferred method. It is fucking cool, bro. It is so wicked. It's like, brrr, there's like, then you just shoot the tree when it's on the ground. Oh, there's nothing boring about that.
Fuck yeah.
And then everyone because I was like, I felt like in the army I was thinking too much. And I was the only one like, hey, is this
Probably
dumb?
one of the only ones. or
Yeah.
not?
I feel like this is dumb. And everyone's like, what are you fucking talking about? Like,
Did you?
So you're trained to not think though, right? Just take orders and do.
fucking hell.
This is a thing. Like obviously it teaches following instructions and camaraderie and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
did you find like you literally were told to do things that you questioned yourself sometimes?
Yeah, heaps,
Take
man.
vaccines.
Like
Yeah.
in basic training, it's like it's very much like so you do 80 days. They shave your head. You stand in a fucking hallway. You make your bed. They throw the bed out the window. They trash your shit. It's like they scream at you.
It's like dating a crazy girl.
It's very toxic.
Yeah.
It's extremely toxic.
But if you can handle, I guess the idea is if you can handle that sort of shit
oh yeah,
under pressure
Like,
situations,
it's fucking it's for a reason. I mean, ideally you don't want to have wars and you don't want to have soldiers. And
Yeah.
You don't want to have all that sort of stuff. But we do,
yeah.
and you want to win them.
Yeah.
And you need like people to do some outrageous shit.
Yeah.
With not much time to think about it.
Do you think that they've just done that because that's how they've always done it and it's effective?
It's thousands of years in design, and it's fucking effective.
Yeah.
It is so good. Like we, they do these mind games with you in like basic training where, so one day they line us all up, and they're like, "We've found porno." Like behind the toilets, you can take off this steel thing, and there's a stack of pornos in there.
Yeah.
They're like, "We're gonna leave you here, and whoever put the pornos in there needs to own up." And they just left us there for like 2 hours, like standing straight. And then it went from like this thing where we're like, all right, who did it? All right, who did it? Who did it? Just fucking own up who did it. Just own up who did it. And then someone's like, I'm going to take the rap. And they're like, no, you're not taking the rap. I'll take the rap.
I am Spartacus.
Yeah, until finally someone's like, all right, we're going to take the rap. And then all the fucking drill instructors come back in and they're like, hey, it was me. I brought the pornos in. And they're like, no, you didn't. We did. Don't ever fucking lie to us again. Work as a team and don't dog each other. And we're like, fuck. And then, by the way, let's work out for 4 hours in the mud.
Wow. What, for lying?
For lying. But they set the whole thing up.
But the thing
You know
is,
what I mean?
So if anybody's going to apply,
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, and it's like, they
pretty
do
smart.
that. They do that over and over and over and over again, like every day. There's always there's different types of things. And it's like, if you're running and someone falls over, like you all got to take them over the line. Otherwise, it's like, there's no individuals.
yeah, this goes in direct contrast with next week's episode. When, when you listen to Wolfie was saying, like, in a war, someone falls down, you're like, fuck it, catch it, come out. Like, leave them behind, leave the weak.
Because it's like in these, when you're going overseas and all this sort of stuff and you want to, like if push comes to shove, like it's mainly about each other than some high-flying political goal, which is all fucking bullshit anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the effectiveness of a military is, that's the only thing. And that's
Looking after
brainwashing.
each other. Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think it's made you hard? Well, it obviously has made you harder as a person and more equipped to deal with hard times. and-
Outside of the army, or has
Oh,
it
yeah,
not equipped
definitely.
you?
No, I changed who I was,
Okay.
like fundamentally.
Yeah.
Because
It's the best thing I've ever done for comedy.
Yeah.
Because now I've got the discipline to be like, I'm just going to work hard.
Yeah.
And get shit done, because what we do is so attrition based. And so like every time we do like a lot of battles, right? You got to win like 10,000 battles in comedy to get the war. Yeah.
So I can only imagine, obviously the Army's this on steroids, but pre-season camps, for example, football.
A lot of them send them to military stuff.
We get like SAS guys come and run us through drills. So I remember we did one for the 2 nights, and it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like it was ridiculous. It got to a point where
do you think that's because the military are going, look how tough we are. You're going to do this. We do this every day, and they don't really.
Yeah, definitely. So, they're bunging it up.
Yeah, and then they'd wake us up at 2 a.m. to make sure we'd get to us, or 3 a.m. or fucking whatever time it was. Get there, and we just had to answer a simple maths problem.
Most footy players would fail that without sleep.
But it ended up teaching us a huge lesson in solidarity, doing things together as a team, I guess problem solving and stuff, but pushing through hard times and realizing at the end, I could do that. And then the next time went and played a game of football and you're like, this is nothing compared to that.
The best thing that the Army ever did for me is I saw 1,000 people cry and say, I can't do something, then do it.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Was it just killing an Afghan?
Village. Like, I can't do that.
Village!
And then it's the whole village, just calling in an artillery strike on a school. Can't do it. Determination and hard work pays off.
You mean physically they're like, I can't do it?
Yeah, like dudes just like crying in a heap at the bottom of a wall.
And what do they say? Get up, pussy!
Yeah, and then people just scream at them until they can, and then they get over and they're fucking elated, man.
Mate, could you imagine if we used that tactic in school? I can't do the problem. Yes, you can, you fucking weak cunt. They fucking work it out.
They kind of did for a while, and they like caned people.
Yeah. Bring it back. Dude, I was a teacher for 10 years.
They're actually hilarious.
Sometimes.
The group punishments are really hilarious. They kind of get each. Not only is it like group reward, but it's group. It's like get the group punishes the person. So we had this one dude. He fell asleep on like picket, which is like sentry duty or whatever. And then like he was asleep, and they're like, "All right, gather around." And then we got this stretcher out, and they're like, "Private fucking Hatton loves having a fucking sleep." So he's like, they're like, "Lie down on this stretcher, and let's go grab some like blankets and a pillow." We like tucked him in. And he's
are you the boss or are you on his team?
No, I'm just carrying him around. Yeah. And then they're like, he's like, "No, I don't want to do it." And they're like, "You like a sleep? You're having a fucking sleep, buddy." So he's tucked up in. They're like, "Somebody get him a little bear." They go into this cupboard, find this bear.
Who has a bear in the army?
They had a bear. They brought a bear out of thin air. And then they like tucked him up, and then we all had to carry him around for hours on end.
Did he sleep?
And then he's just there, and they're like, he opened his eyes. He's like, "All right, guys, you're doing really well." And then like this instructor gets on him. He's like, "Shut the fuck up. You want to sleep? Sleep. Also snore. I want to hear you snore." And he's up there like,
what the fuck?
And we're like, for hours on end.
I love that.
And because then afterwards, we put him down, and he's like one of the team.
Like you put him down or like,
yeah.
That fucking.
And we're all fucked, and he's like had a good time.
Yeah.
But he's like emotionally damaged.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Dudes, I'm so sorry." And we're like, "Just don't do it again, bro." And you know what? He fucking didn't.
Oh, he didn't?
No.
I was going to say.
No way. How would he? Like, that was like embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, he was like embarrassed in front of his peers.
It sounds like there was a bloke.
And it's
it's because it's again what we were talking about before. If it's that idea of like your actions affect other people, it's far more influential than just being told, "No, don't do it. You're in trouble."
Yeah,
but you're relying on that person to have empathy.
Yeah.
Because if they don't give a fuck. There's I forgot his last name. He's a footballer he played at Subi, played at George Hampson.
Yeah.
So this guy, gun footy player.
Yeah.
He's one of I've had heaps of nights. I like him, man. But some of the blokes that play with him hate him because he was like, he went to training in the wrong shorts.
Right.
Everyone had the right shorts on. He had the wrong ones. And
like
right,
purpose,
you want to?
Or he didn't care.
He didn't care.
Yeah. He's like Nick Kyrgios.
Yeah. So he's like, "Oh, you think you're special? Everyone else is going to run laps." So instead of him feeling bad, he's like, "Good job, boys. Keep going. Keep running."
And this is the one thing I do. I feel like footy players do get a bad rap for that sort of thing, like being selfish, being fucking ego driven. But you do learn about, and obviously on a far less dramatic level than what the army do, but you learn about working as a team and fucking looking after people, being vulnerable. Like
that term that a champion team is better than a team full of champions.
100%.
Right? So that's
Even like, I've
That's why Geelong always lose.
it's not. I've never gone around and fucking hung out with a heap of the comedians and had a heap of comedians like sit there and cry in front of me. But in a football club, we have moments where you're allowed to sit there and cry in front of fucking 30 or 40 guys, and that seems like that's such a sappy sort of thing to do, but it's actually quite team building. And
comedians aren't. We're not on a team though.
Yeah, but they
do all the crying with the counsellor and then go work it out on stage.
Yeah, I think people like footy players in general, not all of them. There's fucking outliers like old mate that are just fucking ego driven.
Oh, you mean that footy players get a bad rap? So when Ebsworth was shitting on footy players saying
that pissed me off.
Toxic blokes, but they're actually not. A lot of footy players will look after their mate, care about them, do the work, put it in.
100%. And like even the Anzac stuff, for example, like every club will get a fucking a vet to come and speak to them about the stories. Tell them we'll read old. I remember one day we had a camp prior to Anzac, and they did a little SAS thing like what they did, and they made us read these stories from some of the vets from World War I and World War II to get an appreciation for what we were playing for and what we were trying to understand. And it was, I think. I reckon footy players get a bad rap for
I think you've missed the mark, Ebsworth, is what came from Brandon.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't like that one.
My great-grandfather was like on that famous photo of all the vets sitting on the pyramids
before
he went to Gallipoli, and I was doing some research, and then I came across this thing called the Battle of Wazir, which was fought in Cairo before they went to Gallipoli. So whole bunch of soldiers rock up there and just fucking drink piss and root the shit out of the joint, right? Like 20-year-old dude from back in Ballarat.
And you would if you knew you were about to go to war.
So they're like, all right, so they put the price of prostitutes up by $1 shilling, which I'm assuming is a big time. So what does everyone do? Fucking tear the joint apart. Like, so 1,500 like Australian New Zealanders just blitz this joint on the piss. Like the MPs, the military police just can't get a hold of it. It goes all night until everyone gets drunk. 2 people die.
Wow.
What?
2 soldiers die because they're just shooting on each other.
Shooting on each other.
Fuck.
And then they like covered it up and just said whoever the 2 people were died at like Gallipoli. And they don't really know who it is.
Oh, that's
so it could be like there's a whole bunch of families out there potentially with someone with a photo on the wall and a thing being like, oh, he died valiantly on the first day.
He died fighting over a prostitute.
His pants around his ankles just with a chain, just like
Because isn't there that ghost photo as well of the ghost soldier? Have you seen that?
Yeah,
it could be one of them where they just try to superimpose it, and it's like actually this guy was fucking hookers.
Because soldiers are mental. Right, because when you put that same equation and then you like add alcohol and everything into the mix, they're fucking insane.
Yeah, alcohol, bullets, killing,
like mental. When I was in East Timor, we used to get on the piss hard, and we would like call in fake like patrols.
What?
So we were just like we were in this. This is ground, bro. Anyway,
allegedly,
I think I've been out a lot far enough now that I can't be. Prosecuted.
This is allegedly.
We'll find out.
This is alleged anyway.
But we used to scout.
Right,
this place.
allegedly.
No, we fucking did.
Okay, two episodes in a row.
So we said no, fucking do it.
So we were like in this like beautiful, picturesque sort of place. Like East Timor's like it's like Bali.
Yeah.
But like, and so we were finding these like secluded beaches and stuff that like we'd cut to like go to, and then we just like find booze from like local like markets and stuff, and we were just like, we've been here for 4 months. Like, we need a fucking night off. And we would call in.
Could use that recipe from the tablets.
We would call in like a fake patrol and we would just go there.
Could you explain what you mean a fake patrol? Like an enemy
so we're
patrol?
telling our bosses that we're going from point A, B, C, and D, checking on shit, putting in Overwatch and looking at stuff, but we're on a beach cooked. Like I'm in a pair of shorts, right? Blasting music.
Fuck.
Have you ever done this with a machine gun? Like dancing? It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're like, you're just like getting hammered, man.
Fuck.
So you're the reason we have an inquiry going on.
100%. We got up to some crazy shit. Like we were just like, there
What
was
else?
dudes smoking weed and stuff.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I heard of a bunch of like friends of ours that were over there, friends of ours. And they patrolled.
Kiwis.
They're patrolling. Kiwis are wicked. Anyway, they're so cool.
Yeah.
And then patrolling, and then they're like, what's this? And then you patrol through a huge weed field.
Oh,
And
wow.
everyone's just fucking butting it up for these things. drying them out on stuff, and then just like it's just so fucking cool. I went on exchange with the New Zealand Army.
Yeah.
And like they still have, so they're like, let's say our army's kind of like probably in line with population 2% Indigenous, but the New Zealand Army's kind of like 50-50.
Yeah, sick.
And these boys are fucking massive.
Yeah.
And like happy, you know, like
Yeah.
they're like, oh, bro, you know, and they're just like, but then you put body armor and like, you know, webbing,
Right.
which is
They're the tank. You just
they
sit
just
on them and
fucking
shoot from
this
their
white
shoulders.
man.
Yeah.
And they're just like, and I was there for Waitangi Day, which is like, you know, probably equivalent of our Australia Day.
Mm.
And they're like, all right, guys, you can have 2 beers each. And we're like, cool. And they locked away our weapons, and they just like, it was like one sort of platoon at a time. So then like the other people were patrolling the base and shit, and then they just had like a party. And this big guy, his Cheech was his name. He's like the widest fucking dude I've ever seen. He's like, fuck that, bro. He goes and he grabs like 3 empty sandbags and just goes to like the perimeter of the base and finds a kid. He's like, hey, come here. Yeah, you, come here. He's like, grab these fucking sandbags and this $100. He's like, run to the next village and get us like as many beers as fit in there, bro.
The empty sandbags. Yeah.
This kid's like, all right, I know these beers are going to cost $40, but I'm going to take some skimming off the top.
Yeah.
Employs like 4 other kids to like come back with all of these beers
I
and
love
just
it.
like sling them over
That's sick.
and then we're getting on the piss way too hard.
Yeah.
And this like dweeby like white officer comes over to like, they're like, excuse me, boys. Feels like you guys are having too much fun. And this Cheech guy, because he's had like, I don't know, 8 beers and he hasn't had any beers in like fucking 4 months. He's like, fuck off. And the guy's like, well, enjoy your night.
It's like the manager from Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, fuck. Mate,
Fuck. It's like the Battle of Waitangi, Battle of Wazir.
So I'm interested with the Kiwis. Is the haka part of any sort of training they do within the army?
Well, they gave me, when I rocked up, they gave me like this welcome haka, and it was like a military version. So like first of all, it's them in camouflage pants.
Okay.
No
That's
shirts
it.
on.
So fucking
Camouflage
big, ripped
cream,
fucking
like fucking dutzen across.
Yeah.
And they kind of, as I guess they do it normally with a stick, they do it with their rifles.
Yeah.
So I rock up off this chopper, just like, and I'm like, hi guys, how are you? Pleasure to meet you. And they're just like, wah, wah. And I'm just like, I got to tell you, nothing more welcoming than a haka. It is fucking delicious.
Yeah.
It's,
And,
I will love the haka.
and they all go mental into it because, like, for them, it's like, oh, these Aussies are coming.
Yeah.
Let's fuck their minds up.
Yeah.
And then we're just standing there with our bags, and then like afterwards they're like, oh, lovely
And
to meet
also
you.
they
And we're
have
like,
to do it because every haka you have to fully, you don't half do a haka.
they do not half do it at all.
Yeah,
Full
so
culture.
because I'm half Kiwi,
Yeah.
and my dad always taught me about the respect and honour in doing and being part of a haka, and how it's part of their heritage. It's a welcome to the field of battle sort of thing, and it was something you had to respect as an opposition when it came to rugby, which is where I guess I sort of really learned about it. But I know. Ancient times, it was like what they would do before they'd go into battle.
Before guns were invented,
Yeah.
it would be very intimidating.
Wouldn't that?
After guns, you just like,
Yeah, but like, imagine like, you know, fucking 100, 200 years ago, and seeing that, you rock up to fucking New Zealand, fucking, like, I'd shit myself.
I was
Big Tongans, fucking Kiwis.
Tongans in New Zealand.
They do the haka as well, all those sorts of areas.
Imagine hand-to-hand battle. Has got to be the most insane thing.
Bros, it would be hand to 2-hand battle.
Doesn't
Just one of theirs.
do you often picture yourself in like like you watch like an old English fucking battle scene where they've got swords and fucking knights and whatnot? Don't you, or even like Gladiator and the fucking? Don't you assume that eventually you'd get hit by a rogue sword, someone swinging from behind or something like that? There's no way. Like you could be the best fucking. You could be the most incredible warrior on earth, and then someone just swings on your own team to get the person in front of them, and you're behind them, and bang, they
I would be
cut
the
up in your
biggest
neck.
coward. I would be running and just snipering cunts from them. I wouldn't be going sword fights. I'll be waiting for them to just behind. Boom, see you later, mate. I wouldn't be going into battle like, I'm going to fuck you up.
What would you? Yeah,
I'll be running the other way, waiting till it's finished, then going in, just chopping a few heads.
So that's an unknown little fact, or that we don't think about much with kind of like medieval battle / antiquity battle, is that most of those guys are fucking pissed. Like the morning of, they're like, got a battle today. They're like, should we go on the wines? They're
Fucking
like,
oath.
yeah, man. So they're all sitting there like, imagine you on a night out.
Yeah.
And then with heaps of other people,
Yeah.
just
So
hammered.
if
Well,
you
that's
just
what happens
stay-
in Northbridge.
so
It
if
was
you-
just without the...
Alexander the Great conquered the known world at the time. Fucking hammered.
So if you
He died of alcoholism. So he's just like, he was making, man, what a fucking
That's
night out.
awesome.
What
If
a
you were
night
sober-
Imagine
out.
what he could do sober.
yeah, I was about to say if you were sober, you could probably just go in a fucking
He
run.
would, he probably would have been Alexander the All Right because he doesn't have that drunken Dutch courage where you're like, fuck it, tomorrow I'm invading Mongolia. Let's do it, boys.
And
Yeah.
the crazy part about a lot of these battles is afterwards. Like if you're fighting another army and you win, and there's a city right there,
Oh yeah,
the officers are like, we can't control them. Like they are having a 3-day party.
Yeah.
That's a blood fest and a fucking
rape fest.
Right.
Yes,
Really?
Crazy. Yeah, that's what that was
rape
like.
and pillage.
That's what
comes
they
from,
did, and it's
Oh,
like,
Yeah.
sorry. I thought you were talking.
and isn't that
yeah.
insane?
Not
Like,
now. Not
yeah,
not
yeah, I was
modern
going to say
warfare.
modern warfare.
Well, fuck, who knows? There's been
Yeah, but
loads
yeah.
of war
Imagine
crimes.
coming back to your missus and you haven't been gone in 2 years, and she's just there washing the clothes in a river, and she's like, "How was the campaign?" And you're like, "Yeah, it was a quiet one, had a few beers." Or whatever. So, you didn't rape anyone, did you? Like, nah, I didn't rape it. She's
Nah,
like,
just
"'Cause
pillaging, just
pillaging.
I heard you rape them all. No, not me. It was all right. I
It
did,
was
yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
But I was
Jeff.
thinking of you.
Yeah.
Because you know when you also like you get post-orgasm regret.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
imagine that in a
Always.
sacking of a city where you just like
Always.
you come and then you're like, oh my god, it's half a body. Like, fuck, man. And the next morning when everyone sobers up, they're like, you were mental last night. Man. You were putting like 7 heads on a steak. Like, I don't know. I got carried away. I had a big night because everyone's pumped too, and like you must
Yeah,
be
you just
drinking.
won a battle.
And then you sit there like, you were good today, man.
Yeah,
you did
yeah.
good. It was your first battle. I saw you, bro. You didn't run backwards. You're like, thanks, man. I really tried hard, man. It was for the team. I seen you, man. You hit the thing, and then, it was good, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you're fucking really good at this shit.
Fuck
Oh,
that.
it
And the
must
next
just be
day you just get
insane.
fucked up.
And it's all just for the rich people, too.
Yeah.
Trying to
Just
get...
like now.
That's why, like, the English, right, fucking smashed it for a while there, because it used to be noble people, and they were like, hey, we're going to get on the suits of armor and fucking have at it.
Yeah.
And the English are like, oh, we got this idea. We're going to create this big longbow. And then they got all the peasants. They're like, on Sunday, you got to practice. So, like, they had, like, this whole, like, peasantry. And then they brought them to the field. And the French were like, what are you doing, bro? They're like peasants. This isn't, like, chivalrous. And they're like, oh, no, it's cool. And then they fucked the place up for, like, 100 years.
Wow.
Because all the nobles were like, nah, it's beneath us. And the English were like, nah.
Yeah.
We'll just
Well,
rain
fuck you.
arrows on top of you from fucking poor people.
Yeah.
And then those guys were super rapey because they were uneducated.
Oh, yeah.
That's
yeah.
how it works.
Yeah.
Mm.
And they have nothing. So I was going to ask, what's the entry to the army? Because a friend of mine that I taught with, their friend, one of her best mates, didn't get into the SAS because he was allergic to peanuts. And I was like, fucking, what's happening in
Imagine
war?
the Taliban just got heaps of peanuts.
Yeah. What's happening in
Sprinkle
war? It's
them
like,
around them.
nah, they've got the M&M peanut shells today. Like, what is the deal with that? But what he did was he cut himself every day and put peanut oil until he built a tolerance.
Jesus.
And then he got in.
That guy deserves to be.
That's
the
what I
SAS.
think. I'm like, that's SAS mentality. But is that true? If you've got an allergy, they don't let you in?
Yeah, allergies are good. Color blindness is a no-go. But I was in a combat role, so it was different to, like, you can join the army and be a fucking, there's every job in civilian land is, like, there's carpenters who are in the army.
Cucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like someone's got to pay, do the pay clerk.
Yeah.
Fucking get a load of this. When I was in, there was this dude, he was a pay clerk and he invented a soldier
What?
and like paid him
Oh.
into his own bank account.
What?
Yeah, for
Did
like
he get
8
caught?
years. Fucking oath, he got caught.
Oh
and
my
like he
God.
got stung hard because he was doing it for ages, but then he got too greedy. He was like sending this guy on like courses and shit. And he was like promoting him and stuff until someone was just
I would
like,
have got him killed in battle.
someone was
and
like,
then
who
made
the
another
fuck
one.
is this guy? And then they just like followed the paper trail. And like
Wow.
he got like good prison too.
Jesus.
Another guy was selling rocket launchers to bikies.
What? Wow.
'cause
Where, here?
Yeah.
Perth
yeah.
or over east?
We were in
Alleged-
Townsville.
actually-
Yeah,
so-
don't
Maybe,
say.
allegedly.
But he got done as well.
Well, the good thing is we've never heard of a bikie using a rocket launcher. So
you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would hear.
You would hear that story.
Yeah.
It would go. Yeah, it would go.
So good on you that bikie's not using the rocket launchers.
Not using the
Good
rocket
self-control.
launcher.
Just the threat.
What would you do with a rocket launcher?
Fucking
Seems like
launch it.
overkill, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You don't bring a knife to a rocket launcher fight. do you?
Nah.
Yeah, that's.
I think man, if someone's getting into their car,
Well, they're like disposable rocket launchers, which
Can
is
you get
hilarious words together.
yeah.
Can you get forensic evidence if someone shot a rocket launcher at a house? Like,
I don't
How
know.
do you trace it back to it? Yeah, no, this is an RPG for sure. I've seen this before.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever shot a rocket launcher?
No, that's the question.
First thing about them is they're loud.
Viral!
Because I once shot so many rocket launchers, I got bored.
Yeah,
like that is
right.
that was about 22 was the mark.
Yeah.
They were like, we got to finish all these rocket launchers. We're like, why? Because they're like, you won't get as many next time. We're like, we don't like these ones.
It's the same
We're
thing.
over the rocket launchers.
It's the same thing in teaching. If you don't use all your budget, then you don't get as much. So you're forced to spend as much as you can so you get it.
It's funny watching a soldier's face who's bored firing a rocket launcher. He's like this. Fuck it.
Just
Yeah.
playing that hell slow music.
But answer your question, I mean, like, it's extremely loud.
Yeah.
It blows holes and shit. Is
Yeah.
probably its main characteristic.
Yeah. So is it loud in the shooting or loud in the only in the
Both.
both?
Yeah. So it's got a hole at the back. So there's two types of rocket launchers. They've got a hole at the back, so then we call them recoilless. So you can shoot them, and it doesn't it's not. That's kind of a myth sometimes. Is that boom? It's just because it all goes out the back. In fact, if you're standing behind it, it can kill you.
Yeah, right.
okay.
Just from the rocket.
That'd be the most fucking embarrassing death. Like,
What a
sorry,
dickhead.
sorry, Mr. Smith. Johnny was standing behind a rocket launcher, just not paying attention. He had 3 beers from Cheech, and he's
Well, there
fucking
would have
been
been
blown
so
apart.
many of them in history, right?
Yeah.
Like the Soviets, for example, when they just like fucking owned the Nazis.
Yeah.
Like those guys were loose. They were just like they were dropping bombs on each other. Like
Yeah.
it was just a meat fest, right? It was just a meat grinder.
Yeah, we forget like how much Russia sacrificed to beat the Germans. Hey, didn't they lose the most people in the war?
by like
A lot.
No wonder,
fucking times.
no wonder
man.
they're pissed at America.
Yeah, they. What was that battle? The in the cold.
Stalingrad.
Yeah. The battle of Stalin.
The Cold War? No.
Russia's mental.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
as an like you can't have, like that country has been ruled had like 300 years of a czar.
Yeah.
Then like potentially one of the most brutal regimes in communism of all time. Then like a small stint at democracy, and now like another dictator. Like their whole outlook is just so foreign.
Yet because they're foreign. Every Russian I met in Shanghai was brilliant, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
And I was saying on next week's potty
Yeah.
that like when they would say, I'm like, where are you from? They're like, oh, I'm Russian. Like they're really embarrassed. I'm like, dude, it wasn't
Because
you.
of current.
Yeah. I was like, it wasn't you that did it. I don't care, man. Like as long as you don't invade me.
Yeah.
Like,
People aren't
anally.
embarrassed
Yeah.
of being American though.
Oh.
No, they're real. American soldiers are fucking hilarious.
But honestly, the
Yeah.
ones that travel are because they've been outside of America.
Yeah.
Other Americans that don't travel
Yeah.
or are traveling for the first time,
Yeah.
fucking no concept that the world exists outside of the States.
They would come to Australia, like the Marines especially, and like in the Navy, like we do joint exercises with American soldiers, and they're just
I heard you were
fucking
doing joint
mental.
exercise in East Timor.
Viral.
Yeah.
And you just listen to them talk, and they're like telling stories about Iraq and shit, and they're like, yeah, so we were like in the street, and then we were getting fire from a building, so we just drove the tank through the building, and you're like, fucking beg your pardon. Like, what did you just say? And they're like, yeah, man, like, just snipers, and it's
like
just
Call
like,
of Duty real
what are
life.
you talking about, cunt?
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
because they have like Australia's army is really small and really quite good. Their army's like, we call it all the gear, no idea. Like,
Yeah.
they're just billions of dollars and stuff. Like we're walking around like the bush, and they're just like walking around booting anthills over, just like guns over the things.
like, "We're over here, enemy."
Smoking
Yeah.
durries and shit. That's why the Viet Cong just like handed
Destroyed
their ass to
them,
them, man.
yeah.
Because they were just like
Arrogant.
efficient. But
Didn't
then
and you'd speak more on this. I guess didn't they fuck up the Australian soldiers a bit in the Vietnam War by
Yeah, well,
giving away
it's-
positions?
it's
And
their own as in like the Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Australians are pretty switched on about it.
yeah,
And then they like, these guys are more
Arrogance.
dangerous about what it is. Because that's like, it's a really cool term from the Vietnam War called fragging. So fragging's when you're like, you've got an officer, like your boss, that you're like, this guy's fucking dangerous. And then you're like, he was sleeping and a
Grenade
Viet
him.
Cong threw a grenade in his bed. And there's like a lot of,
Fragrant foul.
yeah.
Fragging foul.
There would be some dudes. I mean,
Yeah.
that's probably why they got a lot of
Did any of them
psychological
get
problems.
tried for that?
Yep.
Military? Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
I
plenty
remember-
actually.
And there was one on. There was a movie made about it, and they did the officer.
That's probably Platoon.
Mate, yeah.
In Platoon?
And then one of the kids was going to rat. I can't remember. Anyway, yeah. So that's a real thing, yeah?
Yeah, because they're just thinking like this dumb,
gonna
this
kill
dumb
us all.
cunt's going to kill us, man. Like
Yeah.
he's a moron, so he's probably better. And that's where camaraderie and that tightness can go the other way.
Yeah.
And also in like cover-ups and
Yeah.
stuff.
Which
like
is kind of recent.
Correct. Like
Yeah.
that whole stuff with the SAS is, you know, no one really knows what's going on. Well, fuck, someone does.
Yeah.
But it's just so covered up.
Yeah.
And so factional.
I feel like it's so tough to judge people what they've done over in a war situation as well. No one's thinking logically,
man. Like I'm going to say something and I'm going to put a little asterisk on it that no one knows the facts, right? But you talk about this stuff with like those SAS guys, like, you know, executing soldiers, executing, you know, unarmed.
Yeah.
You're like, a lot of these people that have allegedly been killed are fucking bad cunts.
Yeah.
And they kind of like, this is in an environment where they're sort of got hidden weapons somewhere. You go past, they fucking shoot at you, they put them down, and they're like, oh, I'm just a villager.
Yeah.
And all of these guys are like, we know that you're a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
And we know that in your spare time, you take away women and you cut off their fucking shit for like collaborating and going to school.
Yeah.
And we've got you right now and we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And it's not right to kill them.
Yeah.
But it's also, you're looking at it from a lens of peace.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just going to say that out there now, that not everyone's good and not everyone's bad, and there's no black and white.
Yeah.
And a lot of people out there are bad motherfuckers, and we sent these other bad motherfuckers there to do shit. And now you're kind of scrutinizing them with the lens of like cold blood.
Yeah. Yeah, I think trying to try somebody outside of a war is very difficult.
Yeah.
Because, fuck, man.
I think it's a good thing for society that like this behavior, like these guys might need to take a real big hit on the chin for the sake of like future sort of behavior.
Yeah.
You know, because we did that to the Nazis when they finished. Like a lot of those guys were just fucking doing their jobs.
Yeah.
And their bosses were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, and this is like, we can point the fingers at all the soldiers and the people who are doing the deeds, but we're all
someone else is telling
well, not
what
we,
to do,
but people are fighting wars on behalf of fucking.
That's the
what
problem.
it seems like almost just big business, like ego, corporations, money, greed. Like
if we can change that,
power.
because you're doing it you're talking about, you're trained a human being to act in a certain way at a drop of a hat, and when they do it too well, it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Like
and
it's a really muddy, and I think that it's probably good that this behavior gets done, and they might need to be a scapegoat.
Yeah.
But like,
but also like they're trained to not question orders either.
Yeah.
So if someone tells you to shoot someone, you don't go, actually, sir, I know I'm like beneath you.
Yeah.
But do you think you don't, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
at all.
Yeah. You've been trained not to.
It's strange.
Which goes against everything. Like, what was those famous experiments where they said the participant was in the room?
Correct. Yeah.
Turn up the thing. It's like
they're like the electrode zap one.
You just do what you're told, and that's why most of the Nazis did it, because I do it.
And we're only in a period of time now. Like it's only 70 years ago, then like 2 atomic bombs dropped on the end of the most violent period.
It's only
in
70
society,
days from the next one, I think.
Correct.
So
Right. We're starting to think of like really morally now. Like there's a lot of people being like, war is fucked. It's like, dude, you know, like this is what we've always done. This is a big part of human society. And I actually think in the next couple of 100 years, when everything goes unmanned, there'll be more war.
Oh yeah.
Because once you can have no boots on the ground
and not sacrificing human life,
because that's what's on the nose.
It'll be like real life.
It's not war's not on the nose.
Yeah.
People dying is on the nose.
Yeah.
And it's like society, like a whole bunch of fucking hippies stopped Vietnam, and like they were like, for the first couple of years of protesting, people were going, what the fuck are these cunts doing? And then eventually they finally stopped it, because people were dying and people were getting disenfranchised. But once robots take that over.
Yeah.
Interesting fact.
So you think that's...
Hang on.
Interesting
fact?
Yeah, sorry.
Interesting fact. I was reading an article about, so drone operators essentially work in an office in New Mexico. They rock up to work. They go cheer out. They you know, all right, it's my shift. They jump on. They fly around a drone. They see someone in Afghanistan, you know, and then they fucking rocket the fuck out of it. Those operators suffer from PTSD at a rate of 3 times of regular people that are on the ground, because the body isn't giving them any hormones to deal with what they're doing. Like if you're in battle, like you get fight or flight, right? So you just get pumped full of
And you
protection.
can probably justify the reasons.
But those
behind
people's like a job, and then like a couple of years later, they're like, oh my fuck, I was murdering people from aircon. You know,
Yeah.
like it's crazy.
Yeah, from a remote control, from a computer.
So that's going to be kids are like the soldiers in 100 years are going to be nerds.
They already are, mate.
Yeah,
No.
but they're going to be like, aren't they? They're going to be fucking
Yeah.
Call of Duty,
You look at these
Yeah.
dogs that they've got with the guns. Have you seen these?
Boston Dynamics. The
Like the little
scary,
Black,
those
the Black
things.
Mirror ones.
yeah.
Have you seen them?
Yeah, bro.
Freaking
China uses them to keep
terrifying.
people inside.
I seen the China stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
First dog they won't eat.
it's pretty.
Just jokes. China.
It seems pretty. It seems pretty interesting what's going on with them, because that is the whole idea of not having to sacrifice your own people. That's
Drones are incredible. Right now, what's happening in the Ukraine is you got like a whole bunch of kids flying around with drones, just dropping fucking bombs on like just
It's only
uneducated Russian
It's
people.
gone down to page 38 news now as well. So
Right, they're kicking their ass, man.
Who? Ukraine or Russia?
Ukraine are kicking Russia's ass.
Are they really?
Yeah, big time.
Because the rest of the world's helping the Ukraine? Or
Oh, fucking oath.
America's
Like,
helping
obviously,
Ukraine?
as well. Like, there's make no mistake about it. We're pretty much in like an unofficial world war,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know. But we're just like, that's what I mean. Like, people are, the only thing is like, we're not actually there.
Yeah.
So it's like, once you can not
Forget
do that,
about
like, fucking borders don't mean anything.
Have you been in any combat?
Never been in any combat. No, I went to East Timor 2006 with the United Nations. It was like part of the second sort of intervention there. A lot of humanitarian stuff. A lot of that country got fucked itself up. So I think about society. Like, society can fall apart at any moment. Like, we are existing on a bunch of rules that we all think are real.
Yeah.
Let's look, like, take money for example.
Yeah.
Money's not real,
Mm.
but
It's
as long
free
as
up.
we think it is,
It has value.
we're okay.
Yeah.
So what happened in East Timor, for example, is like, so the government failed, the economy failed.
Didn't Corey White's big on this? Did we add to that? Did Australia add to that?
We definitely stole their natural
Yeah,
resources.
that's
and
what
I
we
was
did,
an
yeah.
active part of that, whether knowing or not.
Yeah.
And when you think about the political stuff, it's like, oh, I was definitely a tool of the government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also like oh yeah, we're going to help you out, but also
Yeah.
there's
we
a
got,
fine print at the end of it
yeah,
to
we
pay
got
the bills.
tax it.
And that's, you can debate that for hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel great about that, but then also we didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's a hard one. You know, a lot of my friends served in Afghanistan, and then
You feel
we
like
lost that war.
Yeah.
We lost. It took 20 years, but like we won every battle, lost the war, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, a lot of my mates are like, "Fuck, I was in that losing war." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, my mate lost 2 legs to something that didn't matter. You know, so his thing. But like, so money fell apart in this country, and then they couldn't pay the police, the ambulance, and the fire brigade. So then they didn't go to work. Do you know what happens when there's no consequences for anything and your money doesn't have any value?
Rape and pillage.
Fuck it oath.
Yeah.
Hectically. Because then possessions become currency. So then people are like
It's my
stealing
life.
things like, I don't know, daughters. And
Yeah.
then people are standing there with machetes being like, you're not getting in. And then that creates a blood feud. In 6 weeks, it took 10 years to fix that country. What happened in 6
Wow.
weeks, you know what I mean? And if we think that this can't happen everywhere, we're fucking
Yeah.
stupid. Look at COVID, man. Look at that toilet paper situation.
Yeah.
People got a little bit crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine, right, if there is an asteroid coming and they go, it's going to hit in 3 years' time.
Bye-bye.
If they told you that, who's going to work?
No one's telling you if an asteroid's coming.
Because it's too crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're right. No
Yeah.
one's
No
telling
one's
you.
telling you.
What happens to the stock market the day after that? It fucking collapses, right?
Yeah.
What happens? Who's going to their job at fucking Coles when they're like, hey, by the way,
Money doesn't exist anymore.
doesn't exist anymore? And then what happens?
We're
We
all
go
doing
fucking
cocaine,
rape and pillage,
mushrooms,
man.
ecstasy.
Because we're animals and
Yeah.
we're crazy and we're instinctual, right? So
What would you do in that situation? You personally, if that
I wouldn't rape.
this
I would
this
pillage.
situation happens, this situation happens, like the end of the world, or fucking there's a nuclear threat, the stock market crashes, something that's going to fuck
something that could
everything.
happen at any time.
Literally, all three of those are very viable options. That gets announced. What do you do?
I party the fuck out of it.
How long have we got? Like, how long
Yeah.
until they announce it, and then when's it happening?
Yeah, 3 years. Let's go with your 3 years.
3 years is a hard one because if it's 30 days, you can go nuts, but 3 years is hard. I'm gonna have to go.
Let's go. It's not a world-ending scenario, but it's money
World
doesn't
fucking-
exist and everything's going
Whoa.
fucking nuts. You got to just survive until stabilize. That sort of situation.
I don't know, man.
This is on my head.
I'm dead in 30 days.
I'm going.
I'm going countryside. I reckon.
Yeah, I'm going. I got an uncle who's got a
Simple
farm
life.
in Albany. I got a mate who's got a farm in York. I'm out there living off the land. I'll fucking
then
go
what
back.
if-
I'll
but
go
if
back
every-
to eating meat.
With all your skills,
I'll go
you're
back
living
to-
off the land.
I'll
What
go
makes
back
it
to eating
crazy
meat.
though is if everybody else wants that, and
Yeah.
there's only a limited supply of that,
Yeah.
then that becomes now something that's worth currency.
I stay here.
So then what are you doing? Are you on that farm with the fucking
I'm
rifles and the things and the
I'm selling
setting
my
up booby
asshole.
traps? You know what I mean?
I'm
Happens
selling my
quick.
asshole.
Do you know?
for whatever
Okay,
I can get.
mate.
Just
Okay,
get in.
actually, very serious. And he listens
Don't
to
worry
the
about
podcast.
backdoor RPGs.
No, he listens.
My ass is an RPG. I have no other currency.
He listened to
My
the.
ass is
He
an
listens.
RPG.
He
Never
listens.
heard that sentence.
Rectum patrol goodness.
He
Get in
listens
there.
to the podcast, and he actually considered this scenario.
Who?
What we're talking about.
Who listen?
I won't say who, but
A
he
person?
listens to the podcast. He's the one who owns a farm out
It's a prepper.
out there.
Doomsday prepper.
No, just like
No.
he said, what if it gets to a point where, because toilet paper was becoming an issue.
Mm.
He's like, what if it gets to a point where it's so fucking crazy, people want to come on and steal our sheep, steal our fucking, like our crop, steal our, all that sort of stuff. He's like, we actually have to think ahead, like what would we do?
I'm going to wipe my
And
ass on my dead enemies.
What would you do?
That
And
happens
it's
in heaps
fucking-
of countries in Africa all the fucking time.
And this
Yeah.
is the thing, like we're
Like-
coming at it from a place of privilege where we've got rules and boundaries and things, but he would literally have to stock up on guns and
Yeah.
stuff and just go, hey, fucking get it off my property.
That's where I got like
And that was a realistic thing that went through his head only a year ago because of COVID and toilet paper.
But if you think that I'm of the opinion that if there was an asteroid coming that's going to destroy the Earth, that the government wouldn't tell us.
Yeah, I don't think
They
they
just
will.
wouldn't tell
no
us.
fucking chance.
Which means at all time we
Yes.
could be under that threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go with the fact that they won't tell us, then at all times it could be.
Because they always tell you on the news, an asteroid just passed that was within 40
That's-
kilometers of the Earth.
Yes.
They tell you after.
That's the old concept of a couple of things. That's a concept behind UFOs and not being the most, just being
Or
completely,
being that all
completely
religious-
out of control.
All religion goes out the window if UFOs get announced.
Yeah, if they
Which would
tell
be
you,
very
hey,
violent.
yeah,
That'd be a very violent couple of years.
But it's not like religion's caused any wars before.
not very rarely.
So-
I think
Dogmatic
so.
religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty small,
Pretty peaceful.
pretty
I think,
peaceful. I
yeah.
think.
So
not every war has been fought over religion.
But the two, the two reasons they think, the two biggest reasons they wouldn't disclose alien life or UFOs technology is because of one, obviously that whole people would go fucking crazy, but the whole fear of not being the most dominant and having absolutely no way of defending ourselves from a.
I think it'd be a good
Another
way to
single
unite us, but I don't think the world would go crazy.
Yeah, I
I think
don't.
if they were like, "Hey, if aliens are real," I can't see myself.
But what if they
like-
said aliens are real? A couple of them don't like us, and
Then I'd be like, "All right, let's get together
yeah,
and defend each other." All of a sudden,
yeah,
but that would be what the New World Order would want. So that would be a smart move by the Illuminati.
it's
It'd be
the
hard to
the false
explain
flag.
ourselves to aliens if they were just kind of curious
No
and not
shit.
violent. Because we've had so much sci-fi, so we think they're all going to take us over. But they could just be like,
I think they're
exploring.
already here.
But imagine sitting down with an alien and they're like, "All right, what do you do here?" And they're like, "Well, we work." And they're like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Wow, we go to places, and some of us do podcasts, and we want
Yeah.
to monetize that through Patreon." They're like, "Slow down." And they're like, "What do you do with your money?" They're like, "Well, we have a stock market." And they're like, "Okay, what's that?" And we're like, "We're not sure."
Yeah,
They're like, who controls that? They're like, "We don't know."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of collective, and you need to do a 4-year degree to even have a guess.
yeah. They were
And
like,
they're
the
like,
last
"That sounds like it's going to fail." And also, is it based off growth? We're like, "Yeah, it's based off growth." And they're like, "So you need more of you to have more impact on the stock market?" And you're like, "Yep." And they're like, "But the climate's fucked because there's more of you." You're like,
Yeah.
So at some point, there's going to be a collapse because you're going to have to change your financial system. You're like, "You're fucking. I
Yeah,
can see
he's
why
got
you
it.
travel."
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
To
Why
be a
would you?
hard
Why
one
would you guys
to-
use planes when you know it's contributing to, global warming?
Yeah.
Because
You know,
of
like,
jobs, and they're like the thing that creates the system you don't like.
They'd be like,
Yeah.
your answer would so confuse them. Oh,
That's why I think
we're,
we missed
we're
it.
getting on planes to go somewhere hotter.
Yeah. Trying to help the environment by going somewhere hotter when it's cold. Yeah. And they'd be like, "Man, we saw what you did to the last guy here. Fucking Michael Jackson went from black to white. You fucked him up, took drugs and killed him. So
Yeah.
we sent our scout and it's been done."
Yeah.
Our two current scouts are controlling all of that. Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I saw that photo the other day from NASA that had all the galaxies in it.
Oh,
And
it's
each
insane.
one of them's got like fucking X amount
Did I
of heaps of fucking planets.
Insane.
And have
Right.
you seen the tiny fraction of what part of the
Yeah.
the observable universe that is?
Yeah. Doesn't
It's
it make you
mind-blowing.
irrelevant?
Yeah.
So we are nothing. We are irrelevant.
Yeah, yeah.
And then obviously going back to the alien stuff, to look at something like that and to suggest that we're the only sentient life in that universe.
Well, mathematically, it's difficult to prove that.
You are, as our guest next week said just before, retarded. You're retarded.
I'd like
Mate, broken in the head if you think we're not the only life in this universe.
I'd like to, obviously, I think we're all here. There's aliens out there.
I think they're already here.
Oh,
if they're smart enough to get here, they're smart enough to figure out how to blend in.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And if you're listening,
yeah,
I hail you.
Also, be really funny if one of your fans.
They're not listening.
Like, fuck, you got us.
They're not listening. They're just running the stock market.
And you don't know if that alien's really into you and put it like you might have a whole audience you don't know about.
Imagine, yeah.
Omicron fucking 7.
Oh.
They're big. If you're listening from Omicron 7, join the Patreon.
That's a Simpsons reference.
It is. Omicron Persei 8 is from Futurama.
Shout out to the Star Yarns, baby. Star Yarns.
Star Yarns podcast.
Do you think we're actually in any way close to some sort of global conflict? Honestly,
Well,
from someone
always in a
Fucking oath,
like,
bro.
as in nuclear threat. I said to Delby, I
absolutely.
think there'll be a nuclear threat at some point soon.
I think during our lifetime or maybe just afterwards, so our form of control, which is our financial system, is due to break. You know, because it's based off growth, and growth is the opposite thing of what's harming our planet. So they're going to have an overhaul on that, which is going to be extremely difficult for a long time when there's a teething period.
Crypto?
I don't know, man, but it's just like the world's going to have to change, and it's going to be hard. And in that time,
Gonna make a difference.
yeah, it's
Gonna make a change.
everything's. I don't know. You think about nuclear energy, right?
Why don't you know the answers to the world's problems?
Fucking now!
You look at when did they split the atom? 1944. Well, in the Manhattan Project, when they were whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So we're on the cusp of potentially the next great energy revolution.
Yeah.
Right. So what is something that's theoretical? Because they thought of that shit on a blackboard before they did it.
That's crazy, eh?
Mathematicians were like, we've got this idea, and they explained it to some people. They're like, hey, we've got this idea, and they're like, I don't understand anything you just said.
It's like Wolfie's comedy.
Right?
Till he does it.
That's like Sam Kazujukian with his hedge fund people.
Yeah.
We don't know what you're talking about. We love your energy here. Have money.
So what great leap are we just on the cusp of?
I
And then
think
that could
definitely
power
something
the
neural.
future so far. But then there's going to be, this is what's wrong with the state system. Because countries now control and its state secrets and its things. Like, we're not united. And it's like, why would we be either? Like, everyone's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Do you think that's, again, tactical? Like creating sectors,
Definitely.
creating no unity?
I think there's a big conflict on the horizon. Hopefully this doesn't come true.
don't wanna
But I think
manifest it.
China's on the brink of collapse.
Of collapse?
Yeah.
I thought they were on the brink of taking over.
Nah, it's a facade.
You
right?
think?
Yeah, it's power when there's no power.
But I think that they've got someone everywhere.
But all totalitarian governments that keep their population down through lack of information, the dam breaks and the people fuck it over.
Oh, so
I think
Australia and the
China's
US
done pretty well so far.
I think that
No, so Australia and USA and all the Western civilization are in the
I-
same boat because they just hide all that.
China's one decision away, like Russia, of making because Russia's just fucking shit the bed.
Yeah.
They've shit the bed hard. China's one bad decision away from everyone being like, this fucking sucks. And
Dude,
also
I don't
they're-
think so, man. I think they're too controlled. I think that they've got no sense of being able to uprise.
But can
They're-
they keep that Great Wall of China, that great
Oh,
firewall of
you
China?
mean the
up?
people of China?
Yeah, correct.
Ah.
No,
Because there's a lot of them, man. You've seen the movie Ants?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a metaphor, right?
It's a great metaphor,
It's a
isn't it?
metaphor.
But it's
China.
I don't think it's ever going to happen because we had my mum had a Chinese housemate. Didn't even know about Tiananmen Square. Didn't know about anything
know
his government
nothing
did
about it.
until it came out.
So, but what if?
They withhold everything.
So
Nothing gets in there.
So if they were able to,
Like if the dam breaks with like things like VPN and all of these technological things.
So
that are
you
just
don't
one
think
step ahead.
Starlink could have any effect on giving people information?
I honestly can't see. If China falls, it would be. I can't see that happening.
China.
They're just too in control, man. It'd be like having somebody in the bottom of a well. And
Yeah, well,
just
like I
expecting
said,
them
I
to get out
actually
of the
already
well.
think they're in control of everywhere else. I feel like
But
they've got
I know
people.
fuck all, so.
I honestly think that they've got the people in place, within highest factions in the US and Russia, and I think the CCP aren't fucking dumb cunts. They're like, they play the long-term game and put people in power, in positions of power, and CEOs of companies and globalist companies. They're not idiots.
If they're smart ass.
And we've seen that I think WikiLeaks released, it was a document of like 1.7 million CCP agents that were infiltrating within all these different businesses. They were CEOs.
Which is half a percent of China.
Yeah, like
so
a lot of them.
All around the world.
If there's a war, they have so many disposable bodies. They can just go wave after wave.
But these weren't Chinese people either. They were just like people that they had
on the quiche.
Yeah,
like agents.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like it's for them, for us to think that they're not at least trying to influence other things going on.
There's a couple of good hotspots that are brewing around the world as well. So like China's currently building somewhere between 10 and 20 dams that feed the Ganges.
Oh.
Yeah.
On their side. So that's like India and China would definitely have a fucking
so what
about that.
They're stopping water going through.
So what's this dam?
Huge, right?
What's
culturally.
What's
and the same thing's happening in Ethiopia and Egypt. So because the way states work is you can do things on your side. So like putting in these big, because water is
that's the next big
thing
resource,
now, right?
Yeah.
So like the water wars are probably like upon us.
Yeah.
And if like somewhere like Ethiopia like puts up a fucking dam that cuts off the Nile, like what do the Egyptians feel like? That's a big cultural thing, right?
Yeah.
So there's these things that's why renewable energy is so important. Like also not from just like, hey, the world. It's like, hey, fucking we need to start producing energy.
It's like this happy medium as well. Like we talked about it in our conspiracy app the other day, like fertilizers, for example. Yeah, to move into a far more environmentally friendly version of fertilizer is a great move, but to do it right now is not going to help. It's actually going to create more problems. It's going to put more people into poverty. It's just going to put more power in the hands of smaller amounts of people. So giving us time to adjust over the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years and work towards those renewable things, but not just going, bang, we're doing it right now. Here's a law. It's not going to work.
The US will fucking kick China off at some stage. There's a really great, I wish I had this information for you right now, but there's a really great book written by a statistician that's also a historian that's like plotted the rise and falls of every sort
What's
of...
the next prediction?
Well, there has never been a rising power, like in the whole of history, there's never been a rising power that's got a neighbor that's stronger than it, that the other neighbor has let it get to equal, like, so China's on the rise, and America's got the status quo, right? Pax Americana, right? It's the golden age. There's never been a case in history where the greater power has let the junior power get equality. Because, like, why would you? Like, why let a team get strong before you play them? Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, I honestly feel like that's exactly what's happened with Russia.
Well,
Russia
America's the king of fucking, like, kicking shit off. Like, they are got down to a science.
And
they are so good at it.
And making it look like they were doing the right thing.
Definitely.
And I feel like they've...
So you think that's what
Russia's
Russia's done to Ukraine?
I think that's what Russia... They've forced... Hey... Russia's saying, don't fucking go after Ukraine. Don't put them part of this. We're going to do it, force their hand to make sure we can actually kick them down because they will fuck them up. They will beat them.
And it's in the West's best interest that those two are fucking blowing in there as long as they can.
Yeah.
Supplying them. They were
except for all the grain and all the inflation.
And China's just sitting there going, fuck
yeah, but a grain-producing nation like America doesn't really give a shit.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially like Australia as well. Like, it's all just a big game.
What I want to know is all this inflation, everything goes up. Let's say everything goes up 10%. It never comes down again, hey?
No, why would it?
So that just means that we are going to be spending $50 on a loaf of bread, and it's going to feel like $2.
And we'll get used to it, and then the next thing will happen.
It's just so.
And then
well, think back. Like
I know, but
like even petrol when I first put $20 in. $20 was
when you first got your license.
Yeah,
it was like 96 cents a litre.
Mate, it was what? It was
80 cents.
Yeah, not even that. And I remember even when I first started filling up for my dad. Like we'd go past and Dad, I feel like I can remember like 50 cents. Fuck that. Like,
Well, I put LPG in my first car because it was like 20 cents. And now LPG for no reason at all. We produce so much fucking gas that it should be free. Is now nearly 96 cents.
Tariffs, taxes
for no reason.
The problem with capitalism, I mean, there's lots, but it's also probably the best one going around. Yeah, as far as you look at like
it's a lesser of all evils.
Yeah. And like we can't have kings. Kings were like stupid. Like you can't just keep like imagine,
especially a dumb dude.
well, it's like a rich kid
Yeah,
with no experience getting handed keys to like a Ferrari.
yeah,
You know, just being like, off you go. And then like also the stimulation when you're at the top. That's when they're like, kill him in front of me.
Yeah.
It's like, why, bro? It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm bored.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like,
See,
yeah.
Even Cam made this point a couple of weeks ago, again, in our conspiracy thing, where I was saying fucking Russia and China, they're the devil, but but America's just as bad. And he was like, yeah, but wouldn't you want like America's the better of the three bad guys? So like,
Just because we speak English.
yeah, but like as much as America's a fucking bunch of cunts, like the way they're a bit more sly about the way they do things. They're probably you'd rather them than Russia fucking ruling.
goes back to
over.
raping and pillaging.
Yeah,
it's like you go to. It's like I want to build a pergola at my house, and they're like, "Well, you need council approval." It's like, why? It's because if you don't do that, if you have all this bureaucracy, you fucking kill each other. Like it's like there's a system, right? And it keeps everyone in line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's the best one we've had.
But who?
It's not good and it's evil and it
Yeah.
it kills people.
Yeah.
And it kills people that aren't you. And sometimes it kills people that are you.
Why don't we
But
give
it's the
Russia a
best
chance?
one.
We don't know. That could be awesome.
Yeah, well, like
Like, fuck. Let them have a win.
Do we
We'll see
not?
what happens?
So I'm so
alphabet's
skeptical on
pretty hard, but
everything.
fuck.
Yeah, I'm so skeptical on everything we always hear about any country, even fucking North Korea. I still obviously think it's a fucking disgusting place, but at the same time, like you still question
bad.
it, and you go, I wonder if you. I've never been there. I don't know. Like,
Nah, I think that's.
But if
that's
you go
not
there, you probably not
obviously
come
that
back.
I'm terrible example, but I'm just saying, like,
yeah.
I question everything, so
It's
I
not
don't know what
Disneyland.
Russia's like. Like, we think Russia's bad, but
Yeah.
I don't
Could be
know.
fun.
Like, I could have
They
just
could
seen that because
imagine if they could just be like the best CEO,
yeah,
you know, and the old CEO was just a cunt,
yeah.
and we got to frag him.
It's just
Get
Amazon
fucking
if it was
Russia
a
on.
country.
Yeah, we don't know.
But we can't. Propaganda's incredible.
Yeah,
You know, like Napoleon wasn't short.
yeah.
He was
I
just
know,
kind
they're
of
saying
normal,
that
but
too.
then everyone was just like, yeah, he's short. And everyone's like, yeah, fuck him, he's short. They said like Hitler had a one ball.
Yeah.
And
Did
like,
he actually though, or not?
I've read
thought
the records. He
did.
had one that didn't descend. So
Ah.
the Allies have been like, wow,
So
the
he just
guys need some morale, man. These Nazis are fucking killing it. They're like, tell everyone he's got
Oh.
one ball.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's got one ball.
His nuts can't even descend. He's not descending on us.
You wouldn't want to be the guy that has to tell Hitler that. You know, he's in the office. He's like, so what are they saying about me? And they're
Oh,
like,
nothing, sir. Nothing but positive
nothing,
news,
man.
mister.
Yeah,
Mein
They're-
Führer.
They're really impressed with your leadership. He's like, nah, be honest, we've been friends for ages.
I love
He's like,
when
apparently you've got one ball. He's like, I don't. He's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, no, I've got two balls. He's like, nah, it doesn't matter. It's not up to me. He goes, I'll show you. You don't have to show me. Adolf, you
Got
don't
a
have to show
little
me.
moustache on his.
He's like,
kid
fine,
nose.
fine, I'll show you. Then he's like, dude, are you circumcised?
Bazinga.
You don't want to be that guy that has to tell Hitler that everyone's fucking ragging on him, you know?
Yeah, that would be fucking horrible.
yeah,
So
fuck.
bad. The one story I heard on another pod, but I want you to repeat it,
Yeah.
is you're fucking the guy that had Tourette's that snuck through and got into the army with you.
There's heaps of funny cunts that I was in with. My mate Dingo, he had Tourette's, and it was just
Dingo?
Dingo, he was Aboriginal.
Dingo.
So the army's racist, so everyone called him Dingo.
Wow, as
Why
in
could
Ernie Dingo.
Ernie?
Yeah, I guess so. I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Just called him Dingo, just with everyone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Because the army's full of insane people
Yeah.
as well. There's people in there that, like, if they weren't in the army, they'd just be fucked in society. That's why it's kind of a good thing for it. But yeah, this guy, he had Tourette's, and he once said he used to make noises. He'd go, that was his thing. And when you're all formed up in a line, and there's just some dude like, and then someone's just like from the back, they're like, it was just like, what the fuck was that? And we're all trying not to piss ourselves too. So
Yeah.
like he's like, fuck you, and we're just like, so we're like. Just like rows and rows and rows of people being like, fuck, man. And he used to have to hold it in for ages. So he'd be like, and then we'd finally finish a parade, and then he'd march off and he'd be like, and it was the best, hey. And then he once said to us, he's like, someone was like, fucking Dingo, we heard you doing this. He's like, how does everyone know me? And we're like, dude, you're a fucking Aboriginal guy with Tourette's. Everyone knows who you fucking are. And he used to find other sounds as well and like latch on. So when we were in Timor, there was like roosters and shit everywhere. So he'd be like,
But could he hold it in or not? Because
for a time.
if he could, that shows that if you want to overcome Tourette's, join
For
the
a
army.
time. He hid it during the recruitment process. He was just like pretended he had a cough, and they're like, yeah, whatever. And then, but when he got pissed, he'd let it out really hard.
Fuck.
Like
Could you
we're at
imagine-
a strip club one night, and we're just in the urinal, and he's like, I'm like, hey, Dingo, man, how you going? Didn't know you're out. He's like, can see your dick, can see your dick.
It's just not filtering, what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Like they just whatever
straight out.
Uncle Tix is hell good on TikTok if you haven't seen it.
He's
Uncle
just,
Tix.
he say the N-word every now, like heaps too.
Yeah.
Like, which is so did everyone else in the
Yeah.
army. But like,
But try to hold a straight, like when you've got that sergeant fucking screaming in your face, like, drop it, give me 20, you will look. That must be like.
we had like the first couple of gay guys that came out as well. And there was this dude that was in our sort of battalion, and he was like big and fucking tatted up, man. And he was like a beast. He was like scary as fuck. And then like
Because
on
you
the
knew he
weekend,
could fuck you on the ass if you wanted
well,
to.
we were all like, oh, this guy's gay, and we know it.
Yeah.
But he was like a beast. But then you give him like 4 beers
Yeah.
on a dance floor.
Yeah.
He was fabulous. Man. He was like just like booting it up and down, man. And then on Monday, he'd always be real sheepish about it. And he would like run up and down with he was like compensating, I guess, but he'd run up and down. He's like, get up there, you fucking faggot. I will fuck you. And he like, dude, this guy would. Like, he can fuck us.
Yeah.
And he would. And then
Letting
there
out
was
the
like,
inner beast.
there was another gay guy that came out because like, I think it was only.
Was this like, has this ever happened before? Or was this like one of the first times?
There was a lot of like, don't ask, don't tell.
Yeah.
'Cause I believe in the American military, it's still not allowed.
Wow, that's...
I know that was that case in like
Could
the
you
early
imagine
2000s,
like, hey, we're
but
being invaded. Oh, the gay guys are going to protect us. No. Don't do that. Just let the Chinese invade.
It would
yeah.
So
it would
dumb.
it would obviously be a distraction thought process. Would they be thinking? Wouldn't it?
I don't know, man. If I was working with women I'm protecting the country,
there's
I'm not
men and
thinking about
women.
fucking the
I
chicks.
was
Yeah,
in when they were
that's-
introducing women. So our job was the last job. Special Forces was last, but our role as an infantry soldiers was the last regular corps, which is we call it, that introduced women. And they said that we were there. It was so good. They put us in this auditorium and they sent out like these women to talk to us about it's going to happen. And they sent these 2 female Canadian soldiers where they've had women for years, like quite successfully. And it was like, kind of like broke it to us. And they're like, right, fellas, this like politicians first. They're like, you might have heard in the newspapers. But yeah, we'll be going to have some few females around the joint coming up soon. And some guy just gets up and goes, this is fucked, and leaves.
What? So did you get undone for AWOL or
And
what?
then they're like, let him settle down. He'll be right. He'll be right. And then these women come out and they're like, give us this spiel about how it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then they're like, any questions?
This
And
feels
fuck
like we're very.
me,
What were
man.
the
This one
questions?
guy's like, excuse me, ma'am, all due respect, what do you do when you get your period? And like, I was like, this is fucking hilarious. But other people were there with notepads like, yeah, what?
How long ago was this? This feels like the most basic.
2011, man.
Wow.
So-
What the fuck?
What is a period?
What is a vagina?
And these Canadian fucking ladies had to explain it, like, not ironically.
Wow.
They were just like, well, it's pretty much the same as your life,
Yeah.
except we put a pad in.
Yeah.
So,
And
so what were they trying to?
How do we control ourselves around the female officers?
Yeah. So is this like they're dorming together, showering together, doing all of that?
Yeah, so I believe, because I got out in 2012, they were introducing them, but they had to introduce them.
You were the one that walked out, weren't you?
Not on my watch.
Fuck this.
Fuck this.
Yeah.
I'll shoot the tree down
I'll work with the
machine
gays,
gun.
but doing the women, no way.
And everyone was kind of spewing because, and I sort of get this, but they had 2 different standards. So they had a different physical set of rules.
Which is bullshit, by the way.
Well, I thought like, push comes to shove, it's like, I don't give a fuck who's in.
Yeah, just carry the fucking bags and protect
But
them.
if I've got a fucking bullet through my liver, like, I want to get back to that chopper, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
I could not
because
give a
like
fuck if you're man, woman, gay, straight, yellow. If I'm next to you on a battlefield and you can't fucking lift my bag if I've been shot,
Yeah. Okay.
then you shouldn't be there.
There's plenty of weak cunt dudes in the army. Like, don't
Exactly.
Get me wrong about
I-
that.
same thing.
They've seen heaps of female
So do
soldiers
they
that
have
I'd
to-
rather have instead.
Yeah.
So do they have to live up to a certain strength or?
I'm not sure what it currently is, but when there was a different set of standards
I hate
across
that.
the board.
I hate
Wow.
that. I think that's more discriminatory.
I think so too.
It shouldn't be like, yeah, we're gonna have women, but
Yeah.
they're gonna do less. If you want equality, you fucking have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, especially when your life is on the line.
Yeah.
I don't care if I've got a man, female, bi, gay, straight doctor. If I'm dying, I want you to be able to do the job, patch me up.
Yeah, yeah.
If I'm fucking fighting a cunt and
Yeah.
I'm about to get shot and killed,
I
you
need-
better fucking toe the line.
Yes, you need
If
to
you're
be
a
able-
fucking midget in the army, I don't give a fuck. You toe the line, cunt.
Yeah, if you
pull
can
me-
do
if
it, you can do it. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I think
In
so
a life
too.
and death
'Cause it-
situation.
Because like the Chinese aren't gonna give a fuck.
No shit.
No.
When it's push comes to shove, they're not gonna be like, oh, that's a woman, so we'll give them 100-meter head start.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. So, but there was a lot of.
I'm sure I'm sure they're very capable and they know what they're doing. But,
heaps, man.
but
They're fucking awesome and they're compassionate and they actually make good soldiers. I think.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't-
think the
they
female
wouldn't shoot an
influence in
Afghan.
general is great for society.
They wouldn't shoot an unarmed Afghan.
Probably not. Hey,
They just nag him to death. No. Just jokes, girls. What a misogynist.
oh, this Taliban's just like, shoot me in the back of the head, would you?
Tell a man.
yeah, that
Tell
would
a
be,
man.
Yeah.
Not
that would
tell-
be interesting, I guess, like how it would all unfold. Like,
Yeah, I love the idea of just you fucking being in a foxhole, like hiding. Enemies are coming, like we're about to ambush, and you just hear, It's just
Mate,
like,
we-
fuck, who's that? Dingo!
we had a
Giving up position.
we had a Tourette's. A guy had Tourette's play footy with us, and the coach didn't know, and
Yeah,
so
love
we'd be
that.
all like huddled in before the game, and you'd be like all standing together. It's all serious. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that, and you just hear us in the background.
All right, which one
And he
are
was
you fucking-
like the first one. I think the first time he's like just brushed it off, and then it happened. He was like, "What the fuck is that?" And he's like, "She couldn't hold it in."
We had a guy who was like pretty dumb, had an aggressive stutter, so he couldn't say anything. And like, so halfway during basic training, you do this thing which is called a high wire confidence course, which is you're like 5 stories up and you're doing all this stuff. And then they're like, once you pass that, it's in the middle of the training. They go to you, all right, you've done well. You're halfway through. We're going home. You can all go to the pub and you can have 4 beers. And then we'll see you in the morning. It's our gift to you. And we're like, cool. So we all go down to the pub on base and we do the same thing that every motherfucker has done before us is we get 3.5 beers in and we're like, oh, I could go a few more. And everyone just gets fucked up, right?
Yep.
And then we're just marching back to the lines, which is like the barracks. And then we get there and all of them are there. Cross-armed, just be like, congratulations, boys. You've done the same thing that every other fucking dumb cunt's ever done when they come here. You're going to stand in this hallway until someone pisses himself.
Whoa! Wow!
I'd just do
So we
it
stand
straight away.
at attention. We're there for about maybe an hour 45, right? And we are just
Wouldn't you just piss
keeling
straight
over.
away?
We are keeling over, like just in pain, right? And then
Oh,
there's-
see, because you're thinking, I
and
don't
also,
want to be
there's
the
like a couple of
first.
nerds that just had like their beers and went home, and they're like, "What am I fucking doing here with you sick cunts?" And
Yeah.
we're like, "Because we're awesome, right?" And then this guy, his name's Pity, but he had like a stutter.
Pity?
Yeah, and they come up to him and they're like, "Pity, how many fucking beers have you had?" And he had 6, right? And he's sitting there and he's going, and he goes, "Fucking 8." Just puts himself in the shit because he couldn't pronounce it. And then someone pissed themselves and we all went to bed.
Fuck, I'd have pissed myself straight away.
Oh, no.
Standard.
Surely someone
The
just
next
does a
day, the guy
tactical
pissed
piss.
himself. We all just went up to him like, "Oh, dude, thanks, man. I was so close to pissing my pants." I don't know, pissed just before I went there, so I was stoked. But even after an hour 45, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Just standing at attention for that long is painful to me. My
Yeah,
back,
it hurts, yeah.
would just. I can't even stand for 5 minutes in a line.
At the end of training, they do this like tradition where for like a
Well, they
couple
just
of
give you
hours you
PTSD
get
forever.
to they're like, kill this village, be a man. They do this tradition where they're like, the instructors are like, for the next couple of hours we'll swap roles
Yeah.
and you
Wow.
get to march this. It's like kind of you're on the way out.
It's
You
like
get
little
to do it.
dominatrix.
Yeah, and it's so cringe, bro.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just like really happy, and they're like, "You're like, drop down and give me 20." And
Fucking-
these cunts are just like, "Oh fuck."
They probably
whatever."
get off on it
Fucking
because all the
prick.
time they're controlling everyone. Like, yeah, tell me how many to do. Fuck,
Yeah.
like 20. Yeah, treat me like a little bitch. They get free dominatrix lessons.
Surely they'd
And
love
then
it.
and then you go there, and
Froth on
you
it.
do this big parade that you practice for, and all your family's there.
Sounds
and
pretty
some
gay to
fucking-
me.
It's super gay. It's fabulous.
We've gone gay wall. Let's go.
and all your family's there, and then they're like, "Oh, you're proud of you," and they shipped you off as this like fucking mullet head like shit cunt, and
Yeah.
then you're kind of like this like small killing machine, and your whole family's like really intimidated, and you're like, "Hi, Mum, how are you?" And they're like, "Whoa, the fuck, man, where's my son?" And then you go out in the town and you get hammered, and all you want to do is drink piss with the boys that you were just with, and all your family's kind of like spent $3,000 to get there. Flew over from Perth, and they're just like, and they're like, "Yeah, he was running, and I picked him up, and someone pissed himself."
In Northern Territory?
It's in Wagga Wagga.
Wagga Wagga.
Yeah, it's a
Sounds
big
like the
base
most
there.
racist against Italian name ever.
So when you finish something like that, and you were you delisted, how does that
Delisted?
Well, like
It's like
what?
an AFL.
Got discharged.
discharged?
So I signed up for 4 years.
Who did you
did
sleep
7.
with? Oh.
Okay, and then they move you on, or is it something you choose to do?
I had to choose. So I was I'd gone up the ranks a few times, and I was staring down the barrel of a training role. So you do your time in.
Definitely didn't think that's how that sentence was going to finish.
So you do your time in a battalion. So a battalion's like the fighting unit, and then after you've done that and you hit a certain rank, I've got to go and be like one of the instructors there, or do another training thingo.
Yeah.
And it's like a desk job.
Yeah.
And it's kind of I wasn't really because I didn't join the army at 18. I didn't really want to do it. I knew my life was bigger than whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like the quickest thing to teleport myself into like an adventure.
Yeah.
Like there was no stage was I like, fuck yeah, Australia.
Yeah.
Fuck them, patriotism.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of people that are.
CPP, are you?
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll edit that out. For your safety.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We're part of them too.
Oh.
Thank you, overlords.
But there's plenty of people that are like fucking pretty patriotic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Are they patriotic? Like I was in basic training when Steve Irwin died.
Yeah.
And
Toby's
Peter
brother.
Brock died the
Yeah.
same couple of
Week?
days apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, days
And we had a minute silence, and it was like some dude cried.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the first time I'd seen it. And then it was like after the minute silence, like, right, get the fuck out of here. And I was like, you just showed some emotion, cunt. Like,
Yeah.
So Aussie.
Wow.
But I was never like that. I just wanted to do something cool.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, I don't know what I want to do with myself, but I know I've got a life
And this
ahead
is
of
an
me.
experience.
I
It's
want to
either-
frag a leader.
And when I went into the recruitment office, man, do they lie to you?
Wow.
Because they have this movie that's just like fucking machine guns
Top
and
Gun?
choppers, 100%. And it's like this guy's just like huge. And do you know what he said to me?
It's the beast.
He's
like,
this guy,
"Join."
no fucking joke, said to me, he just closes the door, looks around that his superiors aren't there, and he's like, dude, do you know how much fucking pussy you're going to get when you're in the army? 4 weeks later, I was showering with 87 dicks. Like, it was just like,
No,
they lied
in
to
2
you.
years' time, the women are joining.
Yeah, he's going to play the waiting game. And it's all just a big old lie. And 90% of the military is just sitting in a puddle.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely is it shooting and shit. There's so much admin. There's so much training. You're just running
Do you think
around.
that other army people would look at you and not respect you because you haven't been to war as much as them? Is there any of that?
There's a bit of that around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
they're
there's
like,
a
you haven't even fucking killed a guy.
and there's that between people like me that were in those corps
Yeah.
that were trained to,
Yeah.
and just never
Did.
lack of a better term, our number never came up. But then there's a divide between, us and the truck drivers and the things, and there's like discriminate. Well,
Yeah.
we have names for them, and then that goes into like Air Force and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like the veteran community can be quite toxic, especially now. So we're just coming off the back of like huge suicides.
Yeah.
So to put it in perspective, 41 Australian soldiers were killed on active service in like battle.
Yeah.
Since 2001 to now. The amount of suicides of people that have been in those environments is over 1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. it's
Which
nuts.
means that mental health is clearly more dangerous than Islamic terrorism.
Because those are the
Yeah.
ones who have just obviously
Come back.
they've killed themselves. There'd be
Yeah.
obviously thousands of more people who are just suffering.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I've had some pushback from the veteran community for even like talking about this, but it's like we all served in an environment that was extremely toxic.
Yeah.
We all
But it was necessary.
it was necessary for
Yeah.
what we did, even if we didn't do it.
Yeah.
The training program to turn you into that person, there's no such thing on the way out.
Yeah.
So I've been around and talked to a lot of people that have
Ah.
killed a lot of people. And the way that the conversations go down, if there's 3 of us like we are now, and we've been in battle and we've killed people, and they go, remember that patrol when we were near the village in Afghan and that guy popped out? Man, he just back of the head. And it's all very casual. And it's their coping mechanism. And then those guys get out, they go to a corporate job. They can't even be talk about what they've done.
Yeah.
And it just compounds, and then they just lose it, man.
And
PTSD is like a slow burn.
Yeah.
And it's not always PTSD. It starts with PTSD, which then usually goes to drinking and alcohol abuse because you're trying to figure the fucking shit out. To then goes like your relationship breaks down because you're drinking and alcohol abusing. To then going your wife leaves you and you lose your job and then you commit suicide. So like in the veteran community, like catching people at that stage 1 is really important. Like I've had 12 of my friends kill themselves. 12 people I know from military service. And like half of them didn't even go on the battleground.
Yeah.
It's just that prolonged period of fucking being on.
Yeah, and then not being able to readjust.
So I love comedy so much. It's almost like the methadone for that madness for me.
Yeah.
To be able to like
Get it
just fucking do something exciting.
Is there a sense of like loss that like we were talking about? You know, you have that unity, that group.
Correct.
That you've built, you've worked so hard, you've created a brotherhood. And you've gone through some of the hardest things you ever. It's almost like, and I've said this before without having someone we can ask in person, but it's like, you know, when you go in the school camp and you finish the school camp and you have that you miss the group of people you just had that school camp with. Yeah. Obviously, it's this sort of feeling on steroids. It's this like we've
when
created
your friend
something.
kills themselves and they don't tell anyone about it, you feel betrayed.
Yeah.
You feel like why? Like, why didn't you tell me? Like, my best friend killed himself, shot himself in the head. And I was going to stay with him 2 weeks from then. And I got off the phone to him the day before he killed himself. And I said, hey, Barry, like, looking forward to meeting your kids because I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. And he's like, yeah, sweet, man. Fucking can't wait. I got the spare room ready and shit. And I said, how you been? And he said, no complaints. And I'm like, you clearly had a few.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like those wakes are very somber. It's just a whole bunch of people being like, looking at the rest of the group, being like, who's next?
Yeah.
And you're all sitting there and you have these conversations after a couple of beers. You're like, dude, if you fucking need a chat, talk to me, can't.
Yeah.
And they go, yep. And then, you know, I've been to funerals of someone who's committed suicide, and then someone else in the funeral group has committed suicide.
Yeah.
And it just, like, for a while there, it was really fucking intense. And it feels like we had a guy kill himself in East Timor, went to the toilets, shot himself in the head 3 times.
Jesus.
Which is impressive.
Yeah.
It's a good thing about assault rifle. You hold the button down and get a couple of bursts.
It's either a
off.
terrible shot or use the
assault
weapon.
rifle. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were just like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? And it's just, you just don't know who's next.
How? Like, what is the answer? Because
doing what I've been doing with comedy has been super rewarding.
What are you doing?
You
mean as in like for yourself or like for
vets? Me, but then also like I've toured around Australia, and the amount of people that came to get like out to see me was really nice.
Yeah,
it was really, really nice.
Like former soldiers.
Yeah. And looking out in the crowd, and they didn't tell me because they're all fucking quiet cunts. And I'm like, dude, that's like last time I was in Perth. Actually, walked out on stage on the Comedy Lounge. The guy in the front seat, I was like, dude, I haven't seen this guy since I was in East Timor together. We were about 3 meters away.
I think I was at that show taking photos and
yeah. And I was like, it was like, dude, and I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, man, I saw you on Instagram. I was like, I gotta see you.
Yeah,
like, you're always funny.
Yeah.
And you know, it's been really nice for me to feel like something's happening. But there's a lot of good organizations now that are trying to, because you've got these ultra dudes that don't talk about shit. They're just not. It sounds stupid, but it's just communicating. So
I definitely think it's a selfless thing that they're thinking they're doing.
Correct.
Because they feel like they're not burdening other people with their problems.
It has to be. I mean, I can't explain it any other way to myself to make myself feel better about the people that I've lost.
And for these people who their whole fucking life has been selflessness, being part of a team, being in service of others, and saying they're obviously suffering, going, I can't put this on someone else who's clearly going okay.
Yeah, and you got to reinvent yourself in life. It's okay to not like hang your hat up and be like, I used to do this and I won't ever feel that like level of worth again.
Yeah.
It's okay to do new shit.
Wouldn't it be good to have some sort of company that functioned like an army that could just employ ex-vets,
There's
where it's
a
just
lot of
like
them.
a team.
In Melbourne, there's a really good one called Veterans in Construction.
Yeah, well,
and they
that
just
makes
take
sense.
people in and
Yeah.
like obviously give them the time.
Upskill.
But then those boys too are all funny because they're back on they're all soldiers, but they're on the tools now.
Yeah.
So the work site's just like, so I blew this guy's head off.
Yeah, but
And
I
it's
think
like-
that's better than losing someone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I feel sorry for people that like, we always glorify like Anzac Day and we do all these things about like, this is controversial what I'm about to say, but like Anzac Day is probably used as a propaganda piece to further sort of like patriotism for stuff. Any company or that's using Anzac Day as a thing, it's like, dude, you sent fucking teenagers to kill people, and then they came home and they drank piss.
Yeah.
They fucking punched their wives in the head.
Yeah.
Because they lived in a world of violence for years on end, where that was the only thing you could have like achieve anything. And then it happened again 20 years later, 30 years later. And no one talks about that. People just drunk themselves into oblivion, and there's no stats for that shit.
Yeah, for me, Anzac Day is not an appreciation for like
patriotism.
Yeah, it's more of a like, I feel
sorrow,
horrible that these people had to sacrifice themselves for. Not all the time, but a lot of times corporate agendas and power and
the agendas of the
struggles.
elite.
Yeah,
and you're talking about a time, especially in World War One. So like the players was a Kaiser, a Tsar, a king with a parliament, and like the Austro-Hungarian fucking empire. Like, and they're all playing these games that millions of people got ground into, and like they just came home and had to crack on.
Yeah,
and it's that's what we're seeing now. The same thing. That's why these people are dying, because they can't. And there's a lot of like, let's make an organization that goes fishing. Let's do this and like do that. I know the answer. Don't go to war.
Yeah.
Like you can fix that shit hard.
Yeah.
It's like you can just stop the fucking games, but we're like not privy. We're just pawns.
Yeah. And I'm one of these people who knows the best thing you can do is talk to someone. Completely different trauma, but like I remember having one of the most darkest days I've ever had. It was like Christmas Eve, terrible time. I knew all I had to do was call someone, and I didn't call anyone because in my head it was, I'm putting my problems on someone who's probably having a nice family meal on Christmas Eve. Those sorts of things. I knew anyone that I called would have been like, mate, it's all good, let's have a chat. But
I even come around. It's
and
Christmas. That's when people want to
exactly.
You know?
And that for me was, I just went, nah, I don't want to do that. And that's on a real low level. Like I couldn't imagine how some of these vets must feel.
Paddy Pimblett at the end of his fight.
Yeah.
He's like, I'd rather have a mate cry on my shoulder than be at his funeral next week.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, that's powerful coming from a UFC fighter.
Correct.
For that.
But just having been in that position and for that, and again, like I'm not comparing myself to vets, but like if I'm feeling like that, imagine how.
And there's no like different level. I think that's one of the things that needs to break down. I feel like there's a lot of like fake respect. This trauma's worth more than this trauma, or like, this one's worth being upset about. It's subjective, and it's not. They're not mutually exclusive to anything else.
Because and I full well knew. I know Chelsea's told me so many times. We've had social and mental health experts on a few times. Like, and the number one thing they say is, don't be afraid to talk and just and get the sort of help you need. And I knew that. And if I couldn't do that, full well knowing, being told and preaching it on here. I can understand how it's so common within the vet community.
I had a funny chat with a veteran recently. He said, I tried to kill myself a couple of weeks ago. We're having
sounds pretty funny, bro.
We're having coffee. And I said, how'd you go? He goes, you wouldn't believe it. I put a hose from my car into the cabin. I said, oh yeah, it's classic. That's old school.
Yeah.
He goes, cars are so clean these days. And I just had a headache for like 4 days.
Yeah, you can't. They've stopped doing that.
And I was like, at what stage of the process were you just sitting there being like, I don't think this is working. I'm going to go for a lie down.
Fucking hell.
Best nap I ever had.
Better luck next time.
Speaking of headaches, the Alpha Brain has given me a headache, Delby.
Yeah, I told you it would,
This
bro.
has been good.
Yeah,
it's been
awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Very, very good chat. How long has it gone for?
About an hour and 20.
2 hours. 2 hours and 10,
wow,
Delby.
Fuck.
I want to reiterate.
Well, maybe the Alpha Brain's been good.
Yeah.
2 2-hour pods.
I want to reiterate. I reckon what you guys... Reiterate, I should have said.
Mm-hmm.
What you guys have got going on here is fabulous. I wish you all the best. I think this is a great podcast. And I like watching, from being an interstate comedian, I like watching what people do. And it's good to see you guys go from strength to strength.
Sure, Bob.
Love it. And
Have
then
you got any
Because
gigs?
this stuff gives everyone a platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in comedy, we've got to remember that we're all fucking in this together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we should promote the fact that like we just spoke about it. If you do need to speak to anyone, fuck, like it, even me and Delby, fucking send us a hit, like whatever.
Just don't do what Wolfie said next week.
Next week.
So wait till next week.
Yeah, listen next week.
Yeah.
Wait till next week.
You got any gigs to plug, or are you at lounge, or are you?
Yeah, I
doing-
got 27 gigs in the next month
Oh,
in
sick.
Perth. But look, I think I was here for the end of Wolfie's things, which if you're listening to this canonically, you won't understand. But
Canonically, very nice. Yeah.
Whatever. Look us up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got?
Put it into Google. I come up. There's only one of me.
All right. What's the name of the show? Or is it just? Are you doing
Just in
gigs
general,
everywhere?
man. Yeah,
Okay.
just give us a follow. If you think it's one of the hard things about doing what we do now is you need people to get behind you.
Yes.
Give you a follow. It's how things are done. We're all just out there doing our thing and enjoying life because at any moment we could be in the 3-year bubble of an asteroid coming and we don't know.
That's right. So get behind us. Not if we got an RPG though, because you'll die. But get behind us at Jarryd Goundrey.
That's it. Yeah.
And guys, so I'm off to Edinburgh this Friday.
Fuck yeah.
But check out DannyW.com. Got lots of stuff happening. Even when I'm away, there's comedy nights that I'm running and quiz nights, Seinfeld quizzes, all sorts of shit.
And
So
what I think we're going to do
I'll
while
chuck it
you're
on
over there,
I'll chuck it on the Patreon as well.
Patreon episodes, like with you,
Yeah.
with if you can get anyone of note, or even Kyle Legacy and Christian, and
So I'll be crashing with Kyle Legacy.
So
everyone will do a few.
so that's probably worth joining the Patreon just for that
Yeah.
fucking month. That'll be pretty fun.
Yeah.
And then I'll just be doing every couple of weeks for Delby's quiz.
And for new listeners, Patreon is where you support the potty by giving us a little donation each month,
The
so we can pay.
OnlyFans of
Yes,
podcast.
it is
That's right.
the OnlyFans of
So we can
podcast.
pay rent for the potty, buy better equipment. There's also 3 or 4 bonus eps on there. You can hear about Wolfie's trauma on there, which is a good little ep.
We've got actually, and the London Vault will go up at some point.
Oh,
we'll record that.
yes.
That'll be
Fuck, we should have done
when
that
you come
today.
back. We'll get him and we'll record that specifically for Patreon. And
That's all Wolfie's escapades when he was in London.
Yeah.
Nearly drowning in the River Thames and all sorts of shit.
it's gonna be good.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, bro.
Thanks for having us.
Really appreciate it.